Welcome to Spelunkers, a place for exploring video games and nerd culture. This is the game exploration show where we break games into digestible chunks, play through them together with the community, and discuss them in exhaustive detail. This is the second episode on Resident Evil Village, and I am joined today by Tyler.
You nailed that intro.
Oh, thanks, buddy. First try, really.
Absolutely.
Nobody needs to know otherwise. Rob Hudak from DraftBunks.
Oh, yeah, hello.
And Doreen Cleyre from PS Premiere.
Hi there.
I actually got all the names right this time. I'm very proud of myself. Didn't have to ask for assistance.
Oh, wait, sorry. It's actually saying my name is Bayou Juice.
Oh, yeah. We're joined by Bayou Juice of Resident Evil.
I thought you were going to say Doreen coming in with her big fuck you stick.
My Bayou Juice and my big fuck you stick.
All right, so this is all about the second half of the game, but really we can talk about anything in the game. Some people wrote in about earlier sections as well. It's so basically after you finish House Beneviento, up through credits, plus, New Game Plus, Mercenaries, all this bonus stuff that we'll get into as well. How do you guys feel about the entire game at this point?
It's fantastic.
It is
fantastic.
If Resident Evil 4 didn't exist, this would be my favorite Resident Evil game of all time. I'm really hot on it.
Sweet. Tyler?
Yeah.
Oh, me. Yeah, this is my favorite Resident Evil game. I love it. It's amazing.
Hell yeah.
I love 7, but this takes everything that 7 does and just excels on every level. The ending was really good to me. It made me oddly emotional. I wasn't expecting to be emotional at the end of it, but I did get emotional, which was surprising. But, fucking kids, that's what it is.
Yeah, I know when that baby came back and said "Dada" again.
I was like, and then he ate the baby, and then I was like, I understand.
As a father,
parenthood
struggles.
Parenting is challenging,
Yeah.
Yeah, I adore this game. It's hard because I'm in the midst of playing this one still and really adoring it, but I think it might be my favorite Resident Evil now. It's amazing. It's the only one that I'm ever going that I won't say I'll never go back and get the platinum in others, but I'm definitely getting the platinum in this one. I've already done the hardest part, getting S rank and all the Mercenaries things.
Oh yeah.
So basically what we're saying is if you hate this game, you should probably turn off the podcast now because none of us are going to
put our blinders on to any criticism.
100%
That's right.
it the whole time.
No, but yeah, if you do hate this game, you probably will not hear what you want to hear from this podcast.
Sure.
But your experience is still valid.
Yes,
yes,
absolutely.
It's
absolutely.
important. It's important.
Incorrect.
It's wrong, but it's valid.
Get this man off the podcast. Yeah, I'd say it's probably just under RE2 make for me, which is the highest ranking for me. And then RE4 beneath that, and then 7 probably. Those other two I think are way more poorly paced in the second half than I think both this and RE2 make are.
For sure.
Yeah, I would say for me it goes probably RE4, RE8, RE3 make, RE7, RE2 make, and then RE5. And those are all the
so
ones.
Low.
I know.
For
I do love the co-op, but
It's so
I do love the co-op. I would absolutely play that game again with someone else. I would just never play it by myself. I also think Mercenaries in that game is fun.
Yeah, it's just living in the shadow of like masterpieces.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not quite the level of quality of the Zelda series, but it's like the Zelda series where when you talk about the worst one, it's still a good game. Even RE6, I think, is a good game.
The only one that's not a good game
that's
is
the hot take.
I don't think
It's
that's
the hot take of the podcast. I haven't played RE6, and I refuse to count to 6 when it comes to the series. So.
They made a 6th one? I thought they just went 5 and then 7.
Yeah, they actually do go 5 and then 7. That's my headcanon anyway.
Yeah.
That's where Revelations comes in.
That's right. That's where Code Veronica comes in.
Where do you put Director's Cut?
Actually, I don't know if I've ever played Director's Cut.
I played it. That was a weird fucking experience.
I bet.
What is
Don't
Director's
recommend
Cut?
That's the first one, right?
Oh, remake?
PlayStation game. Yeah. It's a original PlayStation, like first-person shooter, like arcade shooter, almost like House of the Dead.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of something else.
Oh, the Umbrella Chronicles?
I played Umbrella Chronicles, a little bit of it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
look up
something else
Resident
entirely.
Evil Director's Cut.
Oh,
If you've
I
ever
think I
played
played Umbrella Chronicles. I liked it. It's
I'm
probably
going to
below
make sure
RE5.
that I am not having a fever dream, and that's a real thing. But I'm pretty sure that's what.
That sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure Resident Evil Director's
I
Cut's a
know.
real thing. I just thought it was like
Yeah,
the first
no,
game, but
it's definitely a
modified.
thing. Dark Chronicles or something, right? Yeah, definitely a thing.
Yeah, it has
Okay.
a dude looking
I-
like Ash from Evil Dead on it.
What? That's weird.
There's like 50 Resident Evil games now, but there's only like so
Yeah.
but to be clear, when I say all of the Resident Evil games are an 8 and even 6 to me, like an 8 or above, I don't include all those spin-offs. There are a lot of really terrible spin-off
Well, yeah, that's
Resident
a
Evil
whole
games.
other category.
Yeah, didn't they have one on the DS that was like really
Probably.
iffy?
They had
I'm
Mercenaries
trying
on
For this thing,
3DS.
hold
to- Jesus.
on.
Resident Evil.
So Resident
Dead
Evil 8,
Surge.
everybody.
Hey, it's a pretty good game, turns out.
Hey,
Yeah, let's talk about
Capcom.
Village.
Guess what, everybody? The Good Job Capcom Award. We've done it. We've done it.
Once again,
Well, they did it. We haven't done shit, but they did it.
No, I take credit.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Absolutely.
So I want to say, like, having recently played 7, and then falling off kind of at I think the game itself falls off in the last third, and then experiencing what this game does in its last third, I think it handles what the criticisms I had of 7 for doing that pivot, handles it masterfully and made it way more interesting to do because it was the same space you were already in and very familiar with, intimately so, if you spent the time doing exploration and finding everything. But it was like dialed up to 11. And it didn't take away everything from you, though. Like, we got that from House Beneviento, but it was core to the mechanics that it was trying and story it was trying to tell with that, like, anthology style. But like, it goes completely wild places, but it maintains the pacing, I think, and ramps up in a much better way than I think 7 did.
Yeah.
And it's just even throughout the entire game, which I love.
Yeah, I think to your point, in Resident Evil 7, you're building up your character, Ethan, and you're getting really powerful at the point when you hit the boat, and then suddenly you have nothing and you're weak and you suck. Whereas in this one, you're building up Ethan, you're getting really powerful, and then when you go to play as Chris, he's even more powerful than Ethan is at that point. He is one-shotting everything in the head. And on normal.
Go
Just fucking love how Chris is like, yeah, Ethan, that's cool and all. Let me just get out my like silence pistol that does 10,000 damage to everybody.
Which is a blast to use on New Game
It
Plus.
is. It's really good.
It's just, that's my infinite ammo gun. So I'm just
Nice.
pop, 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 pop.
By the way, that Resident Evil game I was talking about was called Survivor.
Oh, God.
Ah, I have heard of that.
Oh yeah, that's the Metal Gear game that didn't go well, right? No.
All right, so let's jump into the game here. When we left off last time, we had just come back to the village from House Beneviento. There's a few little side things you can do here.
Yeah.
Like the biggest thing is the boss fight against the gosh, I don't remember the names of all the enemies, even
There
though I
are
looked
2.
at them.
Well, like maybe 3, because there's one I missed and I didn't realize this until you were watching me stream the post Reservoir stuff.
Yeah,
There's something you can miss.
the Wheatfield one, right?
Well, no, it's the gravestone plate.
Yeah,
Oh,
back
yeah,
at-
yeah.
Don't
you
get
the
that
gravestone
before-
thing,
Oh, yes,
go back
let's
to
do.
Beneviento's house or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
I looked it up to make sure I got it.
I didn't even know.
I was in such a weird spot after Beneviento. I had very few like bullets of anything, and I was only on casual, so I wasn't too worried. And I made it a personal challenge to myself to never buy ammunition from the Duke, which actually went well. You can go through the whole playthrough without buying anything from even
I
on
don't think I
casual.
ever bought ammunition.
I buy it from
Yeah.
him constantly.
I
Yeah,
don't think I ever did.
but I was so low, and I managed to get that plate. And there's a boss fight basically for that, and
Mhm.
I don't know how I survived, but I think I used up every last bullet I had, and I think like a mine or two, and I got lucky, basically.
Yeah. So what happened with me was, the first time I completely bypassed it, didn't even think about it until I think it was either Tyler or Chris mentioned, it was Mitch, Tyler, someone was asking about what I thought about the other boss fight by House Beneviento. I was like, wait, I didn't.
Oh yeah,
get
that
a
wasn't me.
Boss. I think it was Mitch.
I didn't even
It is
think of it as a
Mitch,
boss
yeah.
fight. Really, I was just like, oh, this is a big ass dude that came out of nowhere.
Well, like they're mini bosses. They're
Yeah,
all
they're
like they
mini
require a shit ton of
Oh, yeah.
ammunition and like
It's
they're
weird to
beat
call
up.
this guy a mini boss. You would not think of them as mini anything because they're
Well,
so
like yeah, the
freaking huge.
giant,
they're
the
fucking
leader of the
giants.
wolves, yeah, each of those dudes. But the so I completely missed it first time through, and then in Village of Shadows, I was like, okay, I'll go back to House Beneviento, but I'm gonna go do the Reservoir first, and then I was looking for it because I completely walked past it the first time, and then I was like, okay, so it's in the gravestone part is in this little thing in the main area, not far from the statue. It's locked. How do I open it? Looked for like switches or anything. I was like, I can't figure it out. I looked online. It locks after you do the Reservoir.
Yeah, it's
which
really
sucks.
It's weird. Like, there's no reason for it to lock.
Yeah.
It's like I understand why it's locked up until after you do House Beneviento, but
Exactly.
after that, there's no reason for it to lock again. I don't understand that.
So I missed it
decision.
on the second playthrough, but I'll get it eventually. But yeah, back to the mini boss discussion, like that was terrifying fighting that first really big one in the
Yeah.
wheat field. And I went through probably 15 sniper rounds, 10 shotgun shells, 2 pipe bombs, and this was on hardcore difficulty. And then tried it again on Village of Shadows. He took like 10 Magnum rounds.
It's absurd.
Yeah, he's powerful,
I
dude.
never fought anyone in the wheat field. So is this after Beneviento?
Well,
It's either Beneviento or Reservoir. I
yeah,
think
the
it's
one in the
Reservoir.
wheat fields is after Reservoir. He doesn't pop
Okay.
up until
I
after you do
never
Reservoir.
I never went back that way because
I was thorough for the most part.
I did not on my first playthrough either. I went and fought him on my second.
I found him by accident. I heard some grumbling by the wheat fields, like, "Oh shit!" Because I was just looking for, I think, chickens, or I got the crank and forgot to get that spot. Went over there, and then yeah, it was a rough fight. So I kept running in and out of the shack, baiting him as he ran back to his spot. So
That's
it was
awesome.
a fun fight. Yeah.
Yeah, leashing is definitely a thing here you can do. Like the boss by House Beneviento, you can also do that if you run back up the stairs towards the guard and he
really?
just turns around and leaves. It's like, okay, I'll just snipe you twice, run back, come back, snipe you twice.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, this is also where you get the grenade launcher, which we've been getting some ammo for already, but yeah, I love a grenade launcher in Resident Evil.
nice.
That's such a satisfying pop too, like
It
when
does,
it fires
yeah.
off and especially
For
when
sure.
it lands.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that's like mildly disappointing is that you can't upgrade the grenade launcher at all in the campaign.
Yeah.
Which is
I was
really-
also really confused, and this is totally on me. I was really confused about how to change ammo for a while,
Oh,
and I
it's
knew,
so weird. It's like L1 and X. I think
you have to aim
Yeah.
and then reload.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was just weird. I was like, why can't I just press a single button? But then I saw it in the bottom right. I'm like, oh, L2X or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like there's unused buttons they could have used for that, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the center button. No, I'm kidding.
it's particularly weird that you can't upgrade the grenade launcher because in Mercenaries 5 through 8, stages 5 through 8, you can buy a grenade launcher that fires ridiculously fast, reloads ridiculously fast, and carries 6 rounds at a time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah. The
is
best you can
super
do is
powerful.
infinite ammo.
Yeah, which I did.
I-
That's the
I-
first thing
I
I
will
infinite
say-
ammoed. It's so strong. It's ridiculous.
I will say that was the one of the aggravating parts with Chris is that you couldn't upgrade any of his weapons, and so he would just kind of fucking stare at his gun for a couple seconds, and it's like, Chris, what the hell are you doing? Like, there are lichens right there. Can we please keep shooting?
Yeah, because you can buy infinite ammo for his weapons, but at least I've only played through on normal and then a couple on casual to complete challenges, but I never came anywhere remotely close to running out of ammo for Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
No,
think I really did
didn't
either.
I didn't.
Yeah, I had plenty of ammo.
I rotated between both guns and leaned on the pistol a lot for much of the village track because I was trying to conserve some of my rifle ammo for a potential boss, and I'm glad it did because it came in handy for that spot toward the end where you have to
Yeah.
do the
Yeah.
flare drops.
That dude had a Las Plagas, right? That looked like a Las Plagas to me, or some variant of the Las Plagas. The guy with the huge crystal axe.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's part of how like they designed the, was it
Metamycete.
Metamycete? Yeah.
Metamycete, yeah.
The Metamycete.
Where he's got
You know,
that like the metal helmet on, and then like
Yeah.
all the tendrils out the back. It's so fucking cool.
Okay, that's what that is. I thought
Yeah.
it looked very.
You should
very
look at the
RE4
concept art for him and the
Yeah.
model view. It's super dope.
It's really funny that we didn't hear the word metamycete at all throughout like 80% of the game, and then in the last 20% of the game, metamycete.
Metamycete.
It's just like, oh my god, y'all, drinking game.
Proper nouns.
Yeah, as soon as they give you the answers to what's going on in the game, they're like, "Hey, you want to know more? Let's talk about this metamycete. Let's talk about it again and again." And
Hey
again.
kids, you want to know about this metamycete?
I'll tell you about this metamycete.
The
Let me tell you about my
midichlorians.
friend, the Metamycete.
Mr.
Do you have time to speak about our lord, the metamycete?
Mother Miranda is the queen of the Metamycete.
True. It's
True.
a lot of M's.
All right, so we get the grenade launcher, and then we're on our way to take on Moreau in the reservoir. How do you guys feel about the reservoir?
I love this area.
I liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it. I was surprised by the. I like the writing, especially for this area, because it's not what you expect at all. So, like, when I started playing the Reservoir, which is a great song by the punk band Pup, I now have it going in my head.
Dude, that ending. Wow. I've never heard anybody reference Pup ever.
I love Pup. Anyway,
Great
I
fucking
went to
song.
see him in New York like a year or two ago, 2 years ago. But anyway,
Lucky.
yeah. So anyway, Reservoir. I just was really surprised by the order of things because like Ethan gets that fucking flask in like 5 seconds, and I was like, well, what the hell? What am I gonna do for the rest of this?
Yeah.
I'm just booking it for the exit, and of course that doesn't work. But yeah,
It's a really
it was
nice
just
change
very-
of pace.
It was very good change of pace. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go in here, fight some standard enemies, make my way to Moreau, fight
Right.
him, get the flask.
It immediately makes you think that it's like going to go down an established formula and be rote, and then instantly turns it on its head.
Yeah,
And then it becomes like a different type of chase sequence. But it's like, so you have the classic Resident Evil like police station with, or mansion and police station with Castle Dimitrescu, and then you had like your survival horror avoidance or run and hide type thing, and then instantly it's like, okay, this is an action sequence, but you still are being pursued by something that you can't quite kill, and so you're on the run constantly, but you're still more engaged with it, and it's really good to like shift things up like that, because if it was another slow thing, it would have felt kind of plotting almost, to have it be another slow section. That's what I was kind of concerned about. But yeah, you're right. Like, it's a good call out. Instantly grab it. Like, fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
I also love like the way that you have to fight through like that nasty ass slime stuff.
Mhm.
It's such a different environment that you're traversing through versus everything else. Like, and Moreau is such a gross fuck. You know, like he's just nasty the
Yeah.
whole time. He's always nasty.
All these
Poor guy.
all the
I know.
environments are definitely unique. I will say, in terms of narrative, it's very frustrating how dumb Ethan is, because he could have grabbed that flask and just ran away, but he had to gloat about it to Moreau and try to be Mr. Smarty Pants there.
I think he himself was like, I can't believe I just got away with this.
Do
Yeah.
you think it's
Yeah.
because
Well,
of what we find out later? Like maybe he just has that connection with Moreau, like ingrained in him.
I don't see that dynamic. You could potentially make an argument for it. I think that's a little reaching for assuming like his reluctancy in
Yeah, that's true.
like fleeing from him, but there definitely could be something there with like maybe there's a connection that maybe like Ethan's empathetic to his struggle or something.
I don't know. Ethan seemed really unempathetic, at least when they first met. And like, I was just thinking about like how just utterly ridiculous Ethan was, where he just kept standing there and talking to Moreau, and I just kept shouting at the screen, "Ethan, you have the flask. Run the fuck away from the fishy fish guy who's literally about to eat you. Like, just
And
go."
can't be away from water.
Yeah,
Like,
but don't
yeah.
forget that he sat in a house that was on fire for way too fucking long. So of course
That's
he's
true.
gonna sit here
That's
and
true.
talk to this fucking idiot. For way
Look,
too
the
long.
guy needed his dramatic pause to reflect
guess.
upon the people he just lost.
That is 100% what was
I
happening.
can't believe this keeps happening to me.
Ethan. How do you guys feel about Ethan overall? We're kind of skipping ahead, but as a character who no longer exists, but presumably will not return in any way in the series.
The
How'd you
father's
guys end up
story is
feeling?
done.
I love the arc. I think it was great. I think it ended great.
If he's not getting a Father of the Year award, at least I'm not saying he's getting any Character of the Year
The
award.
game literally rewards you with that as trophy.
Yeah. I mean, this Father's Day, please celebrate Ethan.
You just have a picture of moss.
I was thinking just a picture of a cutout hand or something like that, but sure.
It's a mushroom growing out of a piece of moss.
Yes.
Happy Father's Day.
That's right.
I
Yeah, I
think-
mean, I like Ethan. He is still. I don't blame people for not liking Ethan, but I still like him enough. I felt like his arc was cool. I enjoy the twist. I think it. Some people are like, oh well, they're just retconning to make things make more sense, and I'm like, yeah, but like even if that's true, like not all retcons are bad, and like I think this makes sense. Like, how the fuck did Ethan beat Jack in Resident Evil 7? How did that happen? Like, that's not going to happen.
When we
don't
get
view
to
it as
the
retconning at
revelation part of that, I fucking love that.
I think it's a
thought that
great
was
twist.
So
I think
cool.
I think it
didn't
makes
see
so
that
many
coming.
things like make sense, and like even if it is a retcon, and I don't even know that it is, but
I don't think it is. That's
yeah,
the thing.
I think it's great.
I think it kind of tracks with the things they teased.
Oh,
and,
100%. I thought so.
Like throughout
Yeah.
7 even, and like
Because the entire time you're sitting there thinking, like, how the fuck is this dude getting through this?
the software engineer.
It literally makes no sense. Like, he was put through so much more shit than any of the other like characters that you play as in Resident Evil games. Like,
yeah.
viscerally, like destroying his body all the time.
Well, and it also tracks with the like quote unquote agenda of the mold bakers and
Yeah.
like
Yep.
not even like sacrificing, but giving to the will of this parasite thing to have
They're trying
another
to
thing under
recruit
it.
into their
Exactly.
Yeah, that was
It-
always their thing, is they wanted people to join their family.
Right, and so I have no issue buying that. It's goofy as shit. I'm not arguing that, and I
Yeah,
love that
for
about
sure.
it because like it's fun and it's Resident Evil. Like the fun explanations they had for each of the lords with like Lady Dimitrescu's like blood illness or blood disease is the reason why she is sustained by blood, and so you have her concoctions as monsters drained of their blood as enemies that you encounter. Like they're people that they use to experiment on, and same with like pretty much every location you're at with like the factory, result of experiments and trying to like it's a good metaphor for the echoes that like these people keep getting caught in a cycle of experimentation for the sake of like more power or something, and so it leads to this type of shit. It's goofy, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's also cool to see how, if you look at all the villains that you fight in this, they use this gift essentially as a way to attain more power, but
Right.
Ethan just uses it as a way to rescue the ones that he loves, getting to it, but ending up sacrificing himself in the end, and not really giving into the idea of power, but relinquishing it.
The real lesson was the mold we grew along the way.
I was really hoping for like a Blues Brothers like parody song of "I'm a mold man" and then
Oh,
horn
my
section.
Yeah, but going back to the reservoir, I do think this part is okay, but it's probably my least favorite part, especially on replays. Both this and House Beneviento are a bit of a slog just to push back through, but House Beneviento is, I think, a little more like...
You just cruise through it.
Yeah, it's pretty rigid in how it functions, and always like there's nothing random happening. Whereas Moreau is a little finicky with whether or not he pops up. Like you walk onto the planks, and sometimes he doesn't pop up at the right time, so you have to walk back and make him pop up somewhere else so that you can run across the planks.
You're just baiting, like, come on, Moreau, go ahead.
Yeah.
I definitely got lost at this part a couple of times. Like I just wasn't sure which way I was supposed to go, and I know a lot of it was just like keep going straight, but I think I like missed a turn off or something like that around the area where you have to hit all those gates.
Yeah, it's a little bit like serpentine because you have to cruise around a particular spot.
Also,
of
I
water.
absolutely like the fish from Resident Evil 4, which they are definitely, invoking a lot.
100%.
I know that's the
stuck
obvious.
for like a minute in this area just because, like one of the pillars they have to shoot, not a pillar, but a plank of wood to shoot to drop the bridge. I didn't realize that there was one when you're standing on the water tower or the windmill that you could shoot before you go down.
Yeah, you could totally get a beat on it before.
And
you
I
go
didn't
down to save
realize
yourself time.
that. So like I went all the way down and shot one. I was like, oh fuck, well why isn't this thing dropping? It never dropped. And I went back up and I was like, oh, it's right there.
Well, you can also see it like at that level. If you just wrap around, there's a second path that it takes you on, which is what I thought I was supposed to go to the first
and
time.
I just never
and then
noticed it.
saw
So I went back up to the windmill and I was like, oh, well, I'll look around. And that was when I saw. I was like, fuck it, shoot it now. And then
Totally.
it worked.
Yeah, and the boss fight was fun.
Personally,
I
my
like.
favorite boss fight. I thought it was. I loved it. It was super dynamic. I love running around an area and having like an enemy run into shit that like I'm setting off. So like I was just baiting him into those explosive barrels.
Yeah.
And that is always super fun. And
Yeah.
like laying down mines and hiding underneath shit to get away from the acid rain that he was spitting up. I love that
Yeah,
kind of shit.
it's a cool arena.
Yeah.
I know it's really like common classic like game dev stuff at this point, but I do like that they marked the certain underpasses that you go under with yellow, and
Yeah.
like I noticed that even before the fight started, I was like, I bet those are going to be important, but why are they important? And then
Yes.
like rain starts coming down like a little into the fight. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I just like start getting damage. I'm like, oh my god! So I just
Yeah,
like
that's exactly
book it.
what I did. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I did. That was my first death of the entire run was the rain thing because I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to shoot him enough so he stops? I shot him several times. Nothing stopped.
Let me
He
tell
just
you
doesn't.
about hardcore.
Tell me about
Yeah,
it.
I think on hardcore you can only survive 1 or 2 of those acid rains, right? Or something
Yeah,
like
pretty
that?
much. Oh, I mean, I was more referring to the fact that like the first time you died was here.
Yeah.
I've died so many goddamn times
Oh,
throughout
okay.
this game, but you learn quick how like what you need to do to survive in that fight, because just a couple wrong moves and you'll probably die. You can survive quite a bit, especially if you have some of those Duke cooked food meal upgrades.
Yeah.
That'll help quite a bit if you're at full health. But yeah, if you're stuck in that acid rain and you're like nowhere near, you're dead.
Yeah.
You will just get burned instantly, like not instantly, but within like 3 seconds.
Yeah, another thing with this boss fight, there are challenges for each of the 4 bosses to beat them in a certain time limit. This one is the hardest one. I think it's either a minute or a minute and a half. And
I could see that.
Yeah, and the thing that's hard about it is you can, I mean, immediately as soon as he comes out, you land on casual. You land a few sniper shots, and like he is ready to die, but he has to get up on a roof and do his acid spit before he's allowed to die. So you have to let him get up on a roof, spit his acid, and then
I
come
love
down,
that.
and then you can
And
kill
nuke
him.
him.
You gotta
like-
let him
just
have
like,
his day.
I love like a game dev being like, you can't die yet. You've got to do your acid rain. Then you have my permission to die.
Yeah. Also,
That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It's also on Lady Demetrisk. You feel like you're damaging her, but you actually do not deal any damage to her until she breaks those archways. She's invincible until you do that, which is
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
I had to learn that to get the 4.5 minutes because I was like, I'm shooting her with like 7 magnum bullets on casual. Why is she not dead?
Okay, that makes sense. I always like instantly the second she dropped, ran through there and baited her, so she destroyed those things instantly, and then it was just having a field day with my sniper rifle and running around with my shotgun. But I got the second boss or House Beneviento challenge. I got that no problem. That one's super easy. You just like
Yeah.
okay, 1, 2, 3, done.
You just need to know the general spawns or follow the trail because she always spawns in the same exact spot for the first one. It's the second and third that are random.
Interesting. What's funny is she also was in the same spot for the second playthrough. She like was the exact same locations.
Yeah,
as
it's
I did
crazy.
first time.
From what I've seen on the 3 playthroughs, there's like she's always in the same spot the first time, and then she has 2 different patterns that she can do for her second and third spot, but they'll always
that's
be
interesting.
like corresponded to each other.
I still think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
One more note I have about this area, and I know, Rob, you also had this problem. Right before you run into Chris here, there's a little like offshoot you can go to get 4 fish by killing some catfish. Yep. I walked into the building first because I was like, I'm gonna explore this little house first and then go the right way, but nope, they lock you off from that.
Nope.
Yeah, it's one of those like, what's behind door number 1? Well, you took a guess. It's the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was so fucking frustrated by that because I was like, where am I missing these goddamn fish? You know? Like,
yeah, I was missing
near the
2.
end of the game, and I didn't have that last meal, and I was like, where are these fucking fish? I've been everywhere, and I eventually looked it up, and of course it was at the fucking reservoir.
I just at a point I was like, fuck it.
Of course you can't go back because it's drained, and there's no way you can go back once the lake's drained, even though all the fish should be available at that point. But you know, I digress.
Yeah, it is kind of weird that they gate it like that, but it's one of those like, well, second playthrough, I like instantly when I got over there, I was like, of course, of course, the one spot.
Yes. All right, so that's pretty much it for Moreau, and then we head back.
Talk about the boat. You gotta ride a boat.
Oh, you can talk about the boat.
Yeah.
Are you excited about the boat?
Okay, so I saw a treasure chest on like a little thing.
I was about to ask.
Y'all got that?
Yeah.
I did not.
I came back. That's the thing. It was one of those spots I could come back to because I was like, okay, everything else is after I found Moreau and got dealt with Moreau and got the key and everything. I was like, okay, I want to go back through and try to make this cleared out. Spent like 30 minutes going back and forth and checking everything, and I was like, wait, that's right. There's a treasure chest here too.
So you can get it once you drain the reservoir.
You have to. That's the only time you can, because once the water drains, the boat goes behind that little spot and it's tucked away, and that's where you find 2 fish.
You also find 2 catfish there as well. Yeah.
Fucking damn.
Oh, man.
Which I didn't get that my first playthrough either. I got that on my second. Like Moreau's area, I was not thorough with. Apparently, I thought I was being thorough. But
apparently, I was not either. Because
that's I think the one that has the most opportunity to miss shit.
Yeah, it kind of presses your progress forward no matter what. So.
And if you don't want to spend the time to go and like double check paths and stuff, because it's also I think part of it's because of those mines are kind of maze like. And so, like, you forget, okay, did I go this way back to where this boat was? And after you deal with everything, it's so late after the fact that unless, like, you leave yourself a note or think to double check and see that on your map that's got that little icon, you can completely bypass it.
Yeah, for sure.
I also really like the, sorry, Chris.
Go ahead.
I like the little puzzle for the reservoir dam, as, like, you
the
have
light
to, like,
switch thing?
Oh, yeah.
Matching up the colors. It was like, it was really cool. I was like, oh, it's actually flipped on its head. You got to look for the little receiver. I thought it was cool. I mean, pretty quickly solved it, but
yeah, it's nothing challenging necessarily, but it's a fun like, you played with my expectations.
Yeah, I did not even realize like what the puzzle was until after I did it, because also you can just change it to whatever. You just change it through the colors, and it'll fill the power bar when it's on the right color. So I just did that, and then after I was like, oh, it's turned on its side. I
got super confused at this section because I thought you were supposed to. Of course, I interpreted the puzzle completely the opposite way you're supposed to. I thought you were supposed to bring it down as far as low as you could. I don't know why I thought that, because you're trying to power up the dam. But anyway, that's what I did.
Nice.
And it's one of those things, you can kind of brute force your way through that puzzle to a solution.
Yeah.
But if you take a step back, literally, kind of, and then see, okay, this is what it's telling me. I can't interact with this particular one, so how do I manipulate the puzzle around it?
Yeah, I will say, fuck those drawbridges, by the way. I did not like that. That was not a fun time.
Oh, I like that. I thought it was fine. You basically just have to push them in a specific order, but even then, if you don't push them in a specific order, like once you push all 3 of them and they're up, you can go hammer them again and they'll stay up without having to wait for the time.
That after like the second or third time, because I fell in the water like 5 times right there. For whatever reason, like I don't know what time I was playing, but I could not get that fucking timing down on those bridges. And I was like, oh, this is so fucking frustrating.
Yeah, I didn't have any issues with the lever bridges.
I'm not good at games.
Well, no, I noticed partway through that there were levers on some of the spots that you could just like start one, pull another one to resume its clock, and just book it through. So I made a path, and like I saw it was starting to wobble, I just booked it back. So I was like, all right, I don't want to have to like get trapped and die somehow and do this again. So I was just
that wobble timing, I was just like not able.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, I was like, I was like freaking out every time. I was like, fuck, it's gonna drop, and then it always did. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I think the different colored doors or whatever, they killed me I think once or twice. I was still trying to get down the timing and stuff like that. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was a little frustrating, but yeah.
Yeah, at the drawbridge section, there's also I would probably say the second hardest goat of warding to find if you're trying to find them on your own, like way out on a pole, just sitting there, very
That might
tiny.
be one of the two I am missing out of the 20.
Yeah,
It's a very good chance because I was pretty good about it and listening for it, but then like you'll even notice in the footage there'll be times like when I'm in the factory, I'm like, where the fuck is that goat? I can hear it somewhere, and I'll look like everywhere.
Is that the thing that you destroy towards the beginning of the game before you
Yeah,
get into
the
the
little
castle?
wooden
Oh,
ones.
I never found any of them besides that one.
Oh, I was
Yeah, there's
looking
a fuck ton of them.
everywhere for
Yeah.
them, and I like they have a very particular jingle. It's like light wood clanking together, and then those were fun little puzzles.
yeah, I found
Yeah,
I
it's
only
like the bobbleheads from 7.
yeah exactly.
Exactly.
They have them in every game, little collectibles.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
only found 7 myself on my first playthrough, and I used the guide on my second one to make sure I grabbed them all because I was not good about finding them.
That's the thing is I do really appreciate that it saves the progress that you have between playthroughs of how many you've got, but I think I got 17 on my first playthrough and then found one on accident on my way to Lady Demetresque's castle, and because I was just exploring, heard it, and then shot it, but I don't know which ones I'm missing, so I'm gonna have to go
That's
through and
always
like
the worst.
very methodically track down and checklist each of them, but
Yeah.
some I know for sure I got.
It's a classic video game thing. I have 18 out of 20. I don't know which ones I'm missing.
No marker. Fuck.
Yeah. Did you get the one on the elevator in the factory? That one was
I
rough.
think that was the one that I was listening for and found because it was like driving me insane.
Yeah, it's like halfway between floor B1 and B3, so you have to like be aiming at the wall and shoot it as you're coming down or going up. It's a rough one. Even when you know where it is, it's a rough one to get.
I think I was on the first or basement level 4 and then like was climbing up a ladder toward the very end, and that was when I heard it. It was like, okay, I'm gonna go do my thing, because it was like it was one of those echolocation things where it was like I know it's this direction or this direction, which
You
I
just
will.
close your eyes and we're like,
Yeah, honestly, I kind of
where are
just
you?
so I could kind of tell where it was at, and then I eventually found it.
3D audio, man.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's very good audio that I was able to do that.
One more thing in the Moreau section. I didn't do this, but do you know what happens if you like try to, when you see Moreau pass by and you're on the boat, if you try to follow him, does he just immediately eat you?
I didn't experiment with it
Because I just went
honestly.
straight to the dock. I was like, I don't want to go over there.
Yeah,
That sounds
that was the
terrible.
thing. As I started going in that direction, I was like, well, I want to explore it. That seems like that'll be the path I'll need to progress or something. So I was like, okay, I'll dock here first, and then I got plot lined.
Yeah.
I mean, before we skip past the Reservoir too, I mean, how do y'all feel about Burrow? Did you feel? Because I felt like
I felt really bad for him.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt bad for him too. I mean, like, yeah, I think a lot of pity or sympathy for him, and then
Yeah.
other than that, I didn't get much. I did think his boss form was really cool. I thought the boss fight itself was cool.
Yeah.
I thought the puzzles were like a nice change.
It was crazy because it was like he couldn't control it. Like he
Yeah.
had to try his best to suppress that monster form at all times.
Yeah,
And just like him constantly being like physically sick because he couldn't control like this.
it's a
monster
suppression
was
that
inside
he's
of him.
constantly battling.
And
yeah.
then trying to like prove himself to Mother Miranda and all the
He's
other
simply-
and all the other like lords of the area are like, you're kind of a piece of shit and we all fucking hate you.
Everyone hates him, and he's just
Yeah.
like wants approval. So that's something I liked about his characterization was I got the impression that he didn't, much like the other lords, like didn't really want to be involved with this, but like viewed Mother Miranda as a god,
Yeah.
and so was like viewing what he like his chance on life or whatever he got as an opportunity to like worship, but is like forsaken by his god in a way.
Yeah.
And is constantly trying to get approval for it, but everyone else views him as less than.
Like
and
for him,
he's by
he's just
himself.
trying to reach this like certain standard in her eyes, whereas
Exactly.
like to her, he is just an experiment. you know.
Yeah,
and
and literally he's like, "This will make her love me."
Yeah, and then the whole time he's fighting against that, like, no, you did this for a reason. Like, I have a purpose in this.
Exactly.
But in reality, it was just like, you're fucking cannon fodder. Like, you're just a means to an end, and now that end is over, I do not give a fuck. So
Yeah, and that sucks.
yeah, it was.
I
thought he was a really compelling character. Next to Heisenberg, he was like the most interesting to me.
Yeah, you know, Ethan, Father of the Year, Mother Miranda, not Mother of the Year. I'll say it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All right, so now we come back to the village after the reservoir, and you can do this little side area. Now that you have the crank, there's a lot of little side areas you can go to, but the very first one is where you get to the Magnum.
God, that crank.
Has to be a crank in a Resident Evil game.
Oh,
Essential. So yeah, you go up the hill and you grab this Magnum, and you fight another one of the werewolf mini-bosses. This one was way easier just because I had more ammo and my guns were stronger, and he's not any stronger than the last one. But they had.
We didn't even talk about the werewolf boss.
Oh, we talked about him. Yeah, we did. Before the reservoir.
Yeah.
Were you not there?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So there's there's the lower ones that you find on the way to the reservoir when they introduce them to you, and then there's the one that you find after the reservoir where you get the Magnum. That's the big one that I took forever to kill near the wheat fields. And the Magnum being placed there is kind of a clue, like, use this gun. It's literally called Wolf's Bane.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like the designers couldn't have done, like, they should have just put a big fucking X, like, right on there, and it says, shoot here with the Magnum, you big dummy.
They should have engraved into the Magnum with like yellow paint, kill werewolf with.
Ethan should have just been like, I should shoot that wolf with that gun I just found.
I'm surprised there wasn't a note there was like a note in the treasure chest, like, hey, there's gonna be a werewolf behind you, turn around, buddy.
Yeah.
But it's very effective, and what I'm currently hunting for infinite ammo now. I want to do a pure Magnum run.
I don't remember when it happens. It's the it's in the fortress, so we'll get to it later. But yeah,
the stronghold,
the fortress boss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
not Heisenberg. I mean
the fortress is so
fucking good. One thing in this area with the little
stronghold.
The stronghold. I've called it fortress too half the time. It's like whatever. It's a thing. When you're fighting this big rabid wolf thing, there's like a zip line that you can use to. It seems like it's there to use to like evade him, like lure him over there and then use it to get out of the way. It doesn't work like that at all. He was chasing me right on my ass, about to bite me, and I grabbed the zip line and I went down, and he was at the bottom waiting for me already. And this is on normal. He's not even as fast as he could be on hardcore and Village of Shadows. So I was like, okay, that's not what that's for at all.
That wolf really did say parkour.
Did you say
parkour?
Parkour. No, I should say
parkour. He did it.
Everyone's always asking werewolves, but no one's asking why wolves.
We're done here, folks. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Good episode. See y'all later.
Take that, your big fucking stick. But the werewolf design I thought was really cool for like the enemies that were like four-legged. It reminded me of Rob. You probably know those enemies from Bloodborne.
Absolutely, the beasts.
Yeah.
That's instantly what I thought of when I first encountered
exactly
one.
Like that. I was like, it's missing that fucking cloak over the top of it, but it looks.
Well, that and it had the ones in Bloodborne don't have the fur like a mullet, like the beetles over its face. In Bloodborne, where you can see their eyes like all wide and everything, but still, like the way they moved, how lanky they were. It was
that's all I could think of. I was like,
fantastic.
It's like first-person Bloodborne right here.
Mm-hmm.
I also got, and obviously I've never played Bloodborne, but I've seen enough of other people playing it and screenshots and stuff to even get Bloodborne vibes at various points. I even got Bloodborne vibes via Mother Miranda in her fight.
Oh, absolutely. The whole game, you can tell it's got that like gothic Victorian. Yeah. It's great.
For sure. So we kind of skipped over Eisenberg calling you and telling you, hey, my piece is at the strongholds. Go get it, and then we can talk about working together.
Recruiting you.
Yeah, basically. He's trying to test you, which is what Mother Miranda's been doing this whole time, at least according to Eisenberg, but then she just, like, kills you anyway, so I don't know that she was really testing you.
I have my hand raised. Can you see this?
Yeah, go. Yes, Tyler.
I have a question for the cast. Heisenberg's the GOAT, right? Of this game?
Heisenberg. Okay, so I loved Heisenberg the best up until he wouldn't stop calling Mother Miranda a bitch, and it gave me like Arkham Asylum, Arkham City vibes, where I was like, 2021 challenge for men to use any other insult besides bitch.
Yeah,
for, like,
I got
5
really
million.
tired of him saying that bitch.
Like
yeah,
I don't
we get it.
mind. Look, I'm not saying that bad guys can't use it. I'm just
Oh,
saying,
for
like,
sure.
No, he said that a lot.
The
He said it
people
like
who
10 times.
are writing this, I implore you, there are other insults to women besides calling them a bitch. Like I insist, like, you can do something else and be awful in other ways.
I agree. It felt kind of lazy for him to
Yeah.
just keep saying
He
that.
just kept saying it. I'm like,
but-
dude, I liked you before this, but like, this is so lazy, insulting. Like, insult
Yeah.
Mother Miranda. I was even kind of with like him.
for sure.
Like, when Heisenberg was like, let's join up and kill Mother Miranda, I was like, Ethan, that's not a bad offer. Like I'm
clearly he's gonna use you and probably try to kill you, but
but
see
like,
where
you
this
can
goes.
fight. Yeah, see where this goes. Like, fight back against him if he tries to kill you. It's not like you're made out of moss or something like that. But anyway, I do love Heisenberg. His voice actor is terrific. His character design is terrific. He's just Magneto, but literally a machine.
Yeah, he's
I
like
love
Hobo
Heisenberg.
Magneto.
I just have that. I just have that nitpick with him.
Yeah, for sure. But otherwise, I think he's definitely the most charismatic of all the the lords and everything. He's definitely got the most like force of personality. And he's like the only person that'll sit down and like talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'm gonna cut it straight with you, buddy. Like, this is a bunch of bullshit, and I don't like it either.
Yeah,
but you're not gonna work with me. I don't have
character
time
arc
for
that he
you.
has.
Fuck you.
Yeah,
being like, hey, I was kind of forced into this, and I fucking do not like this situation at all. So I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I can to get out of it.
Yeah, I think for me, the lords ranked are probably Lady D, because of course I have to, and then Heisenberg. I'm contractually obligated after the last episode.
Signed in blood.
Heisenberg, probably maybe Moreau after that, and then Angie. Angie's probably the weaker of the one. Although
Donna's the
Beneviento
lord.
is so scary though.
Yeah, Donna. But
Donna Beneviento.
I think it's because of I think Donna's a really interesting character, but is literally the least forward facing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
just don't do enough with her, I think.
Yeah, but
the whole concept of like you are talking to her and she's using that doll
through
as a
the
means
doll
to that end.
Yeah,
that is an interesting concept.
Yeah,
she was
absolutely.
never able to accurately speak with other people, so.
And she had what was it? Social dysfunctions.
Yeah,
basically.
Mother Miranda gave her that gift to give her the ability to speak to others, and she speaks violently and with disgusting babies.
Yeah, and I think that's cool and does but it is not nearly as forward facing as something like Heisenberg for sure. I think if I had to rank the lords so far, or like based on what I did, I'd say Heisenberg's probably the most like charismatic and probably at the top of that. Then I think Donna. Then I think Lady D, and then Moreau. But I still really like Moreau.
Yeah, I'd probably do the same order, but I'd probably swap Lady D and Moreau. Maybe it's probably just because we saw so much of Lady D in the pre-release coverage that there wasn't a lot to see here.
I could have seen more, Chris. I could have seen more.
I don't know. She was pretty revealing at the end of that area.
Yeah.
But so that was something I realized at the end of our recording that I didn't. You had mentioned that you thought she was overrated, and I was going to get back to, but I'm glad I made a note of it. Is I think it was super smart that they used her as the face of the attractions to that game. And because it was so early on, and you had no idea what else was coming after that. Like, you knew Heisenberg was involved somehow. You might have seen the doll maybe on the periphery, but like they all used Lady D as kind of a distraction.
Yeah, and
to
I think
a lot of the cool stuff.
That might actually be my issue with it, is because like I only did see the one reveal trailer with like that very first RE8 reveal trailer, and she is all up in it, and I felt like after playing through those sections, like I got the gist of what she was about within that first reveal trailer. Like
For sure.
nothing new was really revealed to me. If anything, the reveal was her daughters. Like that was the interesting concept there, and there was nothing of interest to me at that point. I do think her character is fucking cool.
Yeah.
That
Her voice actress is amazing too.
Yeah, and then the voice acting is
and
incredible.
They literally got a 6-foot-tall woman to play her too.
And I mean, I can't deny that her presence, like standing amongst her presence, is fucking astounding. And it's just like, and the environment that you interact with her in, I mean, it all flows together and it coalesces in like this amazing
Look,
thing.
we didn't talk about it in the last episode, but that mansion's got to be so bad for her back. She's always got to like bend over getting into rooms. She's got arthritis at this point, right?
The fucking door frames in any of them.
Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of space above the doors. She could fix that.
But if I had to rank them, I'd probably go Heisenberg, Moreau, and then Donna and Demetrius are interchangeable. I think. I think they're both good. It just depends on what kind of headspace you're at the time.
For sure, totally.
Yeah.
Look at that. We all had different rankings.
They're all fucking good. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah.
You could argue any of them as number one.
That's the thing. Moreau's my number 4, but like I still really liked his characterization and his design, and like especially at the very end when the notes Mother Miranda has on each of them and the reveals of like kind of where they originated was really cool.
Yeah, you said a little bit ago, Rob, that it was really smart how they used Lady D in all the marketing, and you really didn't know what the hell was going on beyond that. And like they used Lady D in the marketing so much that like I thought Castle Demetrius was the game, so much so that our original stopping point was to Mass, which would have been a big mistake. It turns out because you get all of those in the castle.
I love the bait. Like in all seriousness, I love the bait and switch, and I think she is a great enough character that you could probably, if you deepened her story and had more with the daughters or something, you could have put her in more of the game. But I mean, people complain like, oh, well, she was in all the promotional material, but you only see her for like 10 minutes. It's like I think that's smart. Like I think that's effective marketing. Like
it ended up working.
The internet was too horny to me, of course, excluded. Too horny to realize that maybe she wasn't the whole part of the game and that there was more going on here. But yeah,
I do think that there was no other way that they could have promoted the game without giving too much away.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is they used the most forward-facing. They used her as like a forward-facing threat that harken back to like the biome that she's in is a classic Resident Evil area, and then like she functions as a similar echo of like Mr. X, Nemesis, all that stuff. Yeah. And so you give that crowd, satisfy that expectation, and then completely turn shit on its head throughout the game.
Because every section is different. I mean, the Lady D's castle is the Mr. X kind of stuff, the Nemesis kind of stuff. The Beneviento is more like Outlast or Amnesia and stuff like that. The first couple hours
they learned
at RE7. And then Moreau is like more puzzle focused, RE4 callbacks, and then the fucking Stronghold is just all out war, like just an all out action game.
And then the Factory is the lab.
Yeah, and the Factory is the lab, exactly. So yeah,
but it changes it up in different ways. Which is really
the
cool.
best. This is part of why I think this is one of the best Resident Evil games. This is just the best of Resident Evil, all in one game.
Yeah, they know what they're good at, and they fucking nailed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they learned
to the top echelon of what they could do, and they just fucking nailed it.
They learned from like feedback over the years what was popular in the space of survival horror and different, but no spot overstayed its welcome.
For sure.
Like on a first time through, it was really well paced and like constantly made it. So it was like 5 real spots.
Isn't it fucking wild how far Capcom's come in the last few years? Like, remember when everybody was shitting on Capcom?
Yeah,
they had a bad run.
They had a bad
Resident Evil was not a good spot.
Capcom was in such a shitty space, and then it's like, oh, Resident Evil 7, Mega Man 10, or 11, whichever fucking Mega Man.
Monster Hunter Rise, right? That's
Monster
been really
Hunter
popular too.
World, and then it's like,
oh no, it was 11. I'm sorry. Yeah,
fucking nailing it nonstop. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they've had a very good run. They haven't really let us down lately. I can't think of a bad game that's come out from them in the last 5 years or so.
Since
Yeah.
2017, is that when Resident Evil 7 came out?
Yeah.
And Devil May Cry 5, which was the first DMC game
Amazing.
I ever played,
Love
it
that
was
game.
almost a 5 out of 5 for me. It was so
Yeah.
good.
I mean,
I even played on harder difficulties, and I'm not like that kind of person generally.
It's
So-
so fun.
It's like
so
on
good.
top of that, it's like think of the amount of games that we just said that have come out in the last 4 years that they've pumped out.
Yes,
and they're all
that's true.
high caliber. I mean,
Yeah.
and they're all so
That's-
different from one another. Like none of those
Monster
games are
Hunter,
similar at all.
World, and Rise.
Yeah, I mean that's why we have the Good Job Capcom Award, because I mean they
Yeah.
are fucking smashing it.
Yeah,
it's
they
crazy.
definitely won it this year with both Monster Hunter Rise and Resident Evil 8
Yeah.
or Village. This is top 5, if not top 3 so far for Game of the Year for me.
This
Yeah.
is tied for mine, but we'll actually talk about scores and stuff for the game
For
at the end.
for sure.
So you're after you get the Magnum, you're like following these signs that Heisenberg has made out of just scrap metal, pointing with taunts. Some of
I
them
love
just say
these.
"Go this way," and some of them are like, "They're waiting for you, Ethan. Good luck." Stuff like that. That's fun. This is where you can fight the guy in the wheat field, the Alpha. They call him Alpha, but it's spelled like ALFA, which is very silly.
And the giant.
Oh, like Alfalfa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
Yes.
the joke. That's good. That's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's you know what? They're doing fine by me.
Uh-huh.
Good job, Capcom.
Good job, Capcom.
You know, we were saying some pretty harsh things about them earlier, but I take it all back. You know, they're doing okay. They're on the right path.
Yeah, you can also fight, like you said, the giant guy over in the mill, which is basically the same fight as the one outside of House Beneviento, but it's in a smaller space. And I actually
Okay.
had a better time with this fight because he's not as easy to
I
cheese,
love
first
this
of all.
fight. It was so
Oh, well.
This is the cannibal fight, right?
Did you
Yeah.
cheese them really hard, Rob?
I didn't intend to.
Yeah,
I
the cannibal.
I was in that arena and he kept jumping up above where that
Okay.
door is, and then like I'd be when you come inside, there is that like you have 2 pathways. You can go left, and go right, and in the center is like this pillar that's a second story thing. But he would jump up, and then because when I needed to reload or something when I was shooting him or the gargoyles that show up, I'd go inside that little nook and reload and come back out, and he was just like right above me. I could see his hammer just hanging over, and I'd walk around. He didn't see me. He didn't engage at all. So I'd
Oh,
like
weird.
throw a pipe bomb up and then like bait him down, lay a mine. He
Nice.
just took a lot of ammo, but he really wasn't an issue for me.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
I didn't have too tough of an issue. I mentioned it's definitely one of the big gamer moments of like, and it helped that Heisenberg literally had fucking signs that said this way, and I could clearly see a middle and the opposite way that I could go, and I was like, do I continue the main plot or do I check out this optional shit and I might get locked out of it later? Let's
How
go to the optional
convenient.
shit.
I wish that in that moment there was another sign that said optional shit this way.
Heisenberg would do that.
Extra
Heisenberg would
loot.
It
absolutely
would
do
have been a
that.
perfect fork in the road situation.
It would've
you know?
been.
It's like, what do you want to do here?
How
But-
great would it be if they tricked you?
That fight in that mill was such a cheese fight. Like all I did was just lay mines down and walk in a circle.
Yep.
Just walk that entire circle perimeter in that room, and just laid mines down. It was so easy.
It was
But
kind of a
fun.
tease for the fight we get to later with Sturm, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Peller dude. But yeah, it's still fun, and like you can make out like a bandit after you clear that spot out.
Yeah, you got a lot of money, a lot of meats.
A lot of meat.
Oh yeah.
Ammo, everything. Yeah, that's great.
That guy is on a keto diet, right? That's what they call it, a keto diet. That man is on a keto diet.
His doctor said, "Stay away from red meat," and he said, "No, sir, I will not."
And then he ate the doctor.
Turned the doctor into red meat.
That's right.
Yeah.
Also, in this section where you're right before the stronghold, you can use the crank to lower that bridge and take that boat to the 2 sides of the
Right,
river.
hell yeah, you can use that crank.
Yes, I
Use
did
that
want to.
crank?
I did want to talk about that. So I was very I thought this was great. I thought this was really great placement on part of the game. Like you could just go all throughout the the river or whatever, and it was nice and relaxing. And then you would go to certain places that are a little less relaxing. And it was funny because when I got to that area where you get all the treasure, like Lady D's statue or whatever,
The basement of the castle. Yeah.
It's the basement of the castle. Yeah. So it was funny because I figured out one of the puzzles, and this guy kept coming out of one of the tunnels again and again. I was like,
fire puzzle.
I was like, why does this guy keep coming back? I've already killed you once. And then it was like one of those fucking moments from a cartoon show.
Yeah.
I could like hear an audible ding. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to set him on fire.
Right,
so he
'cause
goes
you're like,
into the.
How the fuck do I light this? Oh.
I feel like Doreen and I played this game the exact same way. It's like it's just playing passively through you because that's exactly what I did. I was like, why does this fucker keep coming back?
He's wasting my ammo. He's very rude.
And then I saw the brazier behind him. I was like, oh, I'm gonna kick that fucker into that.
Question for you. So did you guys end up shooting the braziers?
Yes, this
time?
was so much easier with shooting.
Much easier.
So much easier.
I tried shooting it and it didn't work.
Really?
It didn't work for me. Yeah, I tried shooting it with the handgun a couple times and it didn't work.
Each of the angles?
Not the standard one.
Not the one in the middle. The one on the sides.
Wait.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I did try the one in the middle. Maybe that was the issue. I don't remember.
Because
I just remember it not working.
Well, that was the thing. Was after I wanted to check in with you after we had already talked about the previous two fire pit puzzles, or the brazier puzzles, where like we were trying to use our head to brute force all of it. If you tried using your pistol against like the same mechanic, and like how much instantly it gets done.
Yeah, it was
just like a
it's
pop.
actually kind of aggravating because it's just like
It's like fuck you. Why didn't you do this before?
Yeah.
Felt so bad, yeah. For like 20 minutes I wasted on a puzzle that wasn't. It's not, and that's not like, oh, it's a puzzle. I'm thinking, I'm trying to figure it out. Just
No,
pushing,
it's like,
literally
oh, hey.
pushing my head against the thing.
Well, right, but that's the thing is like in a survival horror game, you're like they wouldn't make me waste my ammo on this because
Yeah.
you're in that mode for sure. And then the last part of it, like, oh, I'm flush. I totally do this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that part a lot. Real quick, Tyler, your mic's getting like really quiet. If you're able to turn it up a little bit.
Because I'm getting so loud, it's auto gaining.
Yeah.
Stop
There
having
we go.
fun.
Stop having fun. What are you doing?
Stop making
What are you
me
doing
get
here?
excited. I'm getting excited and getting loud.
Tyler is entering Gainesville.
That's right.
The other thing
Small
the other thing I really like in this little boat section is the cave where you find Chris's stuff and you can see all the mold shit down there.
So good.
I mean, it straight up looks like the final boss from RE7. You're like, okay, yeah, this is mold shit going on here. This is very much directly related to what happened in RE7, although you don't know how yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think to myself, it's great that Ethan's so far away from that, and none of it has affected him in the long term.
He's moved on.
He's moved on. His body's fine. Don't worry about it.
That's funny.
All right. Anybody else have anything else to say about the village? Really, the village at all until we get to Chris's section, because we're pretty much done there.
So y'all go and get like the rest of the other treasures. I was gonna ask you, was it the treasure tied to Lucia? I think.
Lucia.
Where you get her necklace, and inside the necklace is that key.
Yes.
you
I
go
never
back
found where to
and
use that. I never found where to use that.
There's right by the altar where you first leave Lady Dimitrescu's castle, and then there's the altar where the ceremony site where you drop the thing. There is, as you continue along, right across that bridge, where the dudes are waiting up above you near where the boat is. If you go off to your right, where the center of that well is, coming from the castle, tucked in the corner is just a little treasure, like wooden box, and you have no way of opening up until you get Lucia's necklace. You take out the gem, and then inside there is the key you take out, and then opens out that lockbox.
Yes.
I missed it on my first run.
Yeah, I think I did that actually right after Dimitrescu's castle originally.
Yeah, you can. You totally can.
Because I
but
think I'd already had her necklace by that point, so as soon as I came out of there...
What is in the box?
It's like a statue. It's
That
just
sells for money, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that lockbox like originally when I came from Lady D's castle and was like, oh, I'll probably open this much later. And then I
completely forgot about it. So yeah.
I got the necklace, and then I took out the gem and was like, oh, cool, gem, sell that. And then that was it.
The necklace again. I was like wondering what was still in my inventory by the end of the game the first time through.
Yeah, I did when I got to the point that I was about to go to the factory, I knew that it was going to cut me off. So I did look up, like, how am I supposed to open this thing? And they were like, "Oh, remove the key." Oh, okay, I'm stupid. I see.
that makes
Understand.
sense. Examine your items, people.
Yes, if you still have the item in your inventory, you probably
I do
either
wish
need to
there would've been
examine it
more
or
of
use it
those.
somewhere.
I really like those, the ones that you can combine and do stuff
Yeah,
with.
I
And
loved that
there just
stuff.
wasn't there was some, but there just wasn't enough. I just wish there was a couple more.
I think that's a good testament to how well they did it because it left you wanting more.
Yeah.
Whereas it could go the opposite. It was like there are so many of these things. It's so damn tedious. It was just like just the right amount to leave.
I
wanting more.
I agree with Rob because I was glad there wasn't more because I just don't want to worry about that kind of stuff. I don't want to worry about whether it's combinable or not. I just want to sell the item as is. I never even found the doll's body or whatever. I had the mannequin head, but I never found the mannequin head.
It was in a well.
Yep.
You used the wheel for. I'm pretty sure.
I think the head was in a well. The body was
yeah,
just
the
like in a
head's
house.
in the well by the top.
By the gardener's house.
Yeah, the gardener's house, yeah.
Wheel.
Yeah.
All right, so leaving the village to go to the stronghold. Rob, I especially want to hear about your adventure in the stronghold because this was fairly difficult even on normal. I assume it was probably pretty hard on hardcore.
I did a lot of laps. I just kept. That's one thing that hardcore taught me a lot of, very quickly, is to learn the arenas and the paths through it because then you start to really appreciate how interconnected like the 3 floors are. You can start to run a path through and then you get to see that again in the factory a little bit too. It's kind of a good tease. So many dudes, and I think I had to deal with 3 or 4 of the armor-plated dudes with the gauntlets.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think there's only 1 on normal up at the very top.
Maybe it was 3 that I had to keep dealing with, and at least it felt like 3, given how many dudes I had to deal with there. But it took a while, but I think I only died once because I got caught in a bad. No, sorry, I didn't die on that one. It was in the factory I was thinking of. There was a similar kind of gauntlet that I had to deal with that I died on.
So I want to say the beginning of the. Oh yeah, we're talking about Stronghold, not the factory. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I got those 2 confused. Yeah, I found this a little frustrating at times just because this is definitely the part I think I got the most frustrated, and this is the part I've heard that a lot of people are a little down on. I don't know that I'd say I disliked it, but there were definitely parts where I felt a little overwhelmed by how many enemies there were. And what I don't like the most, and this is really my pet peeve with it, is just that the wolves, the lichens can sometimes just shrug off your bullets, even if you land a headshot. And it's like, I don't know what the point of me aiming for the head is if it's not, it's giving me, sorry everybody, giving me RE2 make vibes where it's like I can't even shoot him in the head without I don't get any reward for that sometimes and it's kind of a nitpick. It doesn't bother me a ton, and for the most part I was okay, and it usually just made things a little tenser in a good way. But definitely I would dodge a couple and shoot a couple, but then a bunch more would come out and be like, oh come on, I just killed a bunch.
Yeah, shooting them in the head does deal more damage, and if you land several shots, they'll fall down or whatever. But shooting them in the legs is usually better in my experience. But depending on your difficulty, sometimes you'll shoot them in the legs and they'll fall on the ground, but then when they get up, they'll leap into your freaking face, which is also a bad thing. So yeah, the lichens in general are very hard to manage, harder to manage than any other fodder enemy in any Resident Evil game. They're very
and I liked
jumpy.
that about them.
Yeah.
They were a little unpredictable in some of their movement stuff, and they juke you a lot, and
they really do.
They like to dance.
These lichens should be playing Knockout City. They are very good at juking.
I think this area is super fun. The constant encounters is just the going from each stage. And it's having the the typical RE setting in the castle, and then the survival horror of the mansion or the house, and then the puzzle solving and the combat arena for Moreau. I thought this was a perfect end cap to that of oh, now we're just gonna go balls to the wall action nonstop. This is just use all the ammo you want, because
again, it's really great, like pacing, like great genre shift, like going from those like puzzles and then a big boss fight to like non-stop action.
And the way it accumulates with that boss fight in that small arena setting, you do not feel safe in that setting. And I love, like, especially in these newer RE games, it almost felt like the fight with the bakers, right?
Yeah.
Where, especially the first one, I can't remember the dad's name, but
Jack
Baker. Thank you. When you're in the garage, you know, and it's just like this tiny setting with this thing that you just don't understand how it's going to come after you. And then, you know, you add to that, like, the small lichens that are on top of that. I think that was just incredible. I love that moment.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
I had a funny kind of story about the boss for the Stronghold. So I had been saving up my Wolfsbane ammo, and so here's the context. So starting from here, the Stronghold, and then all the way to the end of the game. So I played maybe about another 2-3 hours all the way through. I was talking to Seb from PS Premiere because we had just been playing a little bit of Knockout City, and like he was up for the night, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about like playing through some Resident Evil 8. You want to join me on voice chat? And he's like, sure. So he like gave me a warning that this part was going to be annoying. So I got off my Wolfsbane that I had saved a lot of ammo for. I think I had like 10 shots at this point. I had never used it once. Or if I had, it was only on that first wolf. And I just fucking unloaded. And I used every single shot I had, I think. And I think they either went down then, or they went down after a couple of bullets from some other gun. I don't even remember what. But I was like, hey, Seb. And he's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I beat him. It's like, what? It's like, I just used all my Magna bullets. And there we go. He's like, damn, okay. So that was my experience.
I was definitely a little over conservative with Magnum bullets on that initial run, more so than I needed to be. I only used, like, I didn't ever reload it with any of the bullets I had. I used the original set of rounds, and then I used the magazine clip, because when you equip that, it refills your entire gun. And that was where all the bullets that I used for that first run. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I really like the Stronghold once I realized that the enemies were infinitely spawning until you get up to the top and you kill the big armored guy. But for sure, you can go through a lot of ammo down near the bottom, just like trying to play it like normal, trying to like kill all the enemies that are coming.
Yeah, eventually, like I kept clearing out waves, and then eventually I made my way up to the top, killed that guy, and yeah, I think then it stopped, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together there.
Yeah, knowing that, I really like that section because it's just like kill what's in your way and get through is what you need to do, and then once the armor guy spawns and you kill him, you're safe. Well, more or less. If you go back down after killing the armored guy, they will start spawning again, so don't do that. I don't recommend it. But yeah, once you know the infinite spawn thing, I think I like that section a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a ton to say here for me. I mean, Stronghold was cool. I didn't. I know. Look, again, I think Stronghold and Factory are the part that I think I've heard anyway. A lot of people criticize, but I didn't mind them. I liked and enjoyed them. So.
Yeah, we'll get into a little more here in a little bit, but people on the internet really don't like the Factory in general, and I don't vibe with that at all. I love the Factory.
Yeah,
I also love the Factory.
Chris, were you and I the ones that were talking about that earlier this week? Where we're like, the Factory is easily the best part of this game. It's so good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I like it a lot.
It was incredibly tense. I was incredibly scared. It was almost Beneviento levels for me about how scared I was because it was this.
It was fun. Like everything about it. The enemy
was
designs,
labyrinthian, but like without feeling inaccessible or unfairly difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there was these new enemies that I had no idea how to deal with, and were giving me serious Wolverine Prisoner RE4 vibes, whatever the fuck that thing is called.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was real scared until I realized, the big glowy thing on their chest is their weak point.
And I thought that was super fun. Like, the whole concept of that, like, this enemy is unique from all the others that you fought so far, and it has this one special weakness, and we're going to add to that weakness as you progress through this factory and change it up. So, like, even within that factory, that enemy type was evolving.
They so clearly heard the criticisms of RE7 and enemy variety. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard or ever seen such a big clapback from the company. It's like, okay, all right, you want more enemy variety? Here you go. Enemy variety with an enemy variety awaits you. Like, It's just they got a lot. That was my sneaky Kingdom Hearts reference for those.
And like, I mean, even within the Lycans themselves, like, there's a note on one of the concept arts, which I read all the notes on all those concept arts. Fascinating stuff.
Nice.
There's a lot of it I'll talk about later. But basically, like, this is the most designs they've ever made for a single enemy, because even like the base Lycan has 5 or 6 different
multiples,
designs.
Yeah, and they all look so good. I mean, fuck, it's a good looking game.
Yeah. So yeah, you get the flask here in the stronghold. I like that once again, like the Moreau section, they kind of mix up the like what you expect, where you get the flask before you ever even get to Heisenberg's actual location.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about its flask. He's like, you can have it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And then you go back and you put them all in, and it releases the Giant's Chalice. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I really love this. I love this part that, like, ultimately what you were trying to do was just pick up the whole
Yes.
fucking thing.
I like
and
that
put it
as well.
somewhere else. I was like, I did not see that coming. I thought it was gonna like.
SpongeBob, Bikini Bottom. Like, we're gonna take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. Like, it was such a simple thing, but I just didn't expect it at all, and I was very tickled by it because I was like, "Oh, I guess we're gonna put all 4 of these things in to move the entire thing."
I did
all
not
the way
even
over
realize
here.
that until you brought that up. That is exactly what that is, and that's so fucking funny.
It's very silly. Yeah, and also like it unlocks all it actually does in terms of Ethan is like lift the bridge up. Obviously, Miranda needed all the pieces in that thing, but she could have had him anyway because she's the one that gave him to the Lord. I don't know what the hell she's doing waiting for a certain time for the ceremony or whatever.
Yeah, like my theory on that is that she just didn't want, and pure speculation to be clear, but like I think her idea was to give it to one to each of the lords so that one, none of them felt left out because obviously there was a lot of infighting going on, and then 2, so if Ethan defeated one of them, it wouldn't mean the whole end of the operation. I guess that's my only thought. Otherwise, I don't know what the fuck Miranda's doing.
But what was she waiting on? She had all the pieces.
I
take him over
I
that
think
fucking
she just
chalice.
wanted to test Ethan, wanted to see if Ethan would join her, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
It's just-
100%
it
sure
made
on
no
that.
sense, right?
It's definitely
Like,
very unclear what her aim was, and not immediately using
I mean,
Rose
I
for her
think-
ceremony.
I think Mother Miranda was hanging out with her goth friends, and she.
We
just
know
didn't
why
have-
she wanted the baby, but like it, they never mentioned why she was waiting. To,
Maybe it was a time of day thing. That's the only thing I can think of.
And then also,
Oh yeah, it
did
wasn't
we
that
get to
yet.
the point where we were like underneath the ground talking to the old lady. Have we got to the? Has that happened yet?
That happened right after Lady Dimitrescu's castle.
Mhm. Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
But, oh, okay, so we're in that same area. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's why I'm getting confused.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you get out of the castle, you meet her there, and then you go through. Then you're at the ceremony site.
Yeah, that's why I was getting the ceremonies like confused with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but like I was saying, when you put that Giant's Chalice in there, all it does is lift up a bridge that leads to the factory, and it's like, in terms of the way that the game flows from a game design perspective, you need the character to go to the factory, but it doesn't really make sense that Ethan would want to go to the factory outside of this very specific circumstance that Heisenberg happens to have a proposition
Right.
for him. But originally, they tell you this also in the concept art, there was like a shrine over there where the ceremony was actually supposed to take place that Miranda was at, and then you
Yeah.
like kind of get pulled into the factory along the way.
It feels kind of retrofitted.
Yeah.
Just a little
I think
bit.
that would have made
Yeah,
a lot
it's-
more sense.
Why was this chalice like 100 yards over to the left, and just magically it lets you go to the factory? There is no reason for that.
Yeah, no, it's a silly
It's
Resident
just a
Evil.
dumbass
Put the key in
MacGuffin
the
to
thing.
have a dumbass
Yeah, it's a
MacGuffin.
MacGuffin thing.
Yeah.
Video
For no
games,
reason.
everybody.
Yep.
Absolutely. Don't try to make sense out of video games, everybody. It's a mistake.
Yep, that's right.
All right, so you get to the factory. Heisenberg invites you in, and you have a nice little chat with him here, which we kind of talked about earlier. But yeah, he's so charismatic, and like you, Dory, I was like, Ethan, this isn't a bad idea. Maybe just go with
This
it.
isn't a bad. And look, I don't know what the fuck is down there, Ethan. I don't want any part
Yeah,
of
exactly.
it. And Ethan's like, it's literally that part in Disco Elysium where like you can have the choice to like jump backwards and like flip somebody off, and like you just end up like crashing into a pinball machine if you fuck up the dexterity check. But anyway, like this is like Ethan literally going like "fuck you," and I'm like, No, like, let's talk this out. You have no allies against Mother Miranda besides the Duke, and what the fuck the Duke is gonna do for you? I
Also,
don't
he
know.
literally gives you the piece for your daughter that you were looking for, so it's like he hasn't really done anything too bad. He never killed you at the beginning
Yeah.
when he captures you.
And
He
then
gives you an opportunity.
why not, if you don't want to line up with his end game, why not like use him as a weapon against Mother Miranda
Yeah,
and
a
let him
means to an
die?
end. Absolutely.
Then maybe you wouldn't have died in the fucking field, Ethan.
Yeah.
But it had to
Like
happen.
Like a chump. He died like a chump.
Like a fucking chump.
Yeah, just getting his heart ripped out. What a chump.
Yeah. What is this fucking
What a
Indiana Jones?
weakling. I haven't had a heart in years.
All right, so you get tossed down there and you run away from the helicopter man that you later learn is named Sturm. And I thought it was so funny when you read his note and it's like he attached that engine to him with the helicopter and he chopped off his own arms like immediately just because he's dumb and he could not keep them out of the way.
I love that detail. Also, I mean, we have to talk about the elephant in the room with Sturm here. Have you all heard about the accusation that Square Enix copied this movie? And
Oh, yeah, I saw
that.
yeah. I saw the
I had no idea
picture
what you
comparison. It's pretty damn obvious that they copied it. I mean, it's a great design. I don't blame them for copying it, but they probably should have given credit or some shit.
What is it?
There's a film that
Frankenstein something? Frankenstein's
I
Army?
forget the name, but there's an artist that wanted basically credit for his design being used from that film in the design of Sturm. They're very, very minor differences, but like it's kind of hard to argue how direct it is.
That's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say the Sturm similarities are very similar, but he claimed that they copied a lot of things there, and a lot of the other ones I don't think are that similar. But if they're already copying like one thing, it's not far-fetched to say they could have copied a lot of the other stuff. But a lot of the other ones deviate a lot from the designs in the film.
Yeah, you could argue they were inspired by, but then that's a whole other rabbit hole of inspirations, and yeah, I'm not a lawyer in the respect and understand like copyright and how, but like
Objection.
but he's within
I really
his.
want to say that Capcom, you know, Ace Attorney, right? They do that.
Yeah, it's Frankenstein's Army, a 2013 movie.
Okay, that's kind of what. Like if you were to do litigation, like that's what copyright law is. A lot of the time is just like reinforcing and maintaining original intellectual property, so that like if ever an instance comes up, it can't be argued again. So I don't know. It sucks. It's shitty if they did. Like they absolutely should give him credit or acknowledge him in some way. But I will say that at the very least, he has gotten some recognition from the community in this coming to light. Has probably seen some at least resurgence of interest in his thing. So
Yeah,
possible benefit.
I mean, I had certainly never heard of the movie until I saw those
Right.
tweets. So
Not to say that's enough, but it is.
I have heard of the
something.
movie. It's definitely like a B movie, C movie, horror movie.
It's a campy horror flick. Yeah.
Yep.
all right, so you run away, you fall down into this like trash pit. And you start fighting some of the enemies with the little like visors over the head, which I think this was also something I learned from concept art, not from the game itself. But both of them and the soul dots with the thing on their head is like a control device for Heisenberg, so he can control them. That's why when you shoot them off, the enemies just go fucking nuts because they're like, "What the fuck is happening?"
That makes sense.
So yeah, we have our first community question that I'm going to put in here. When you come out of you climb a ladder and you see all the soul dots on conveyor belts, that's my answer to this question. RE8 had some absolutely amazing visual design moments where I had to stop and take a knee just to take everything in. I was curious what instances stood out to the panel as being the most visually striking as they played through the game. This is from Mecha Rekka, and he says that his example is House Beneviento. That's obviously a great example when you're walking up and you see the giant waterfall in the background, just this very creepy house.
It is picturesque.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, mine
Yes.
is traveling the river in the boat once you get the crank and you go back to the castle, go underneath. Just that whole scene, traveling through the crevice of the mountain. I love that.
Seeing the remnants of the bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Beautiful.
a cool spot.
I'm struggling to not make a Lady D joke here, and I will not make one. I don't know. This is what first comes to mind. It's probably not my actual answer, but I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. But in that final fight, when you are like, I never took a knee, so to speak, during any of the game. Like, I was never floored that much by how good the game looks. It is very pretty. But I think what struck me the most is one of the things is Mother Miranda's fight when everything goes black and white for a second. I found that really visually striking compared to everything else in the game, and that definitely really stuck out to me. And I also want to say, in case I forget later, Mother Miranda's voice actor is just fucking top notch in that fight. Really part of what made that fight for me. I know we're skipping ahead, but yeah, that's something that really caught my eye.
Mine might also be House Beneviento, but like as great as that waterfall spot is, I think part of it for me is there are two spots. One, there's the first when you walk through the front door and you just see this normal house completely untouched, and it's dead silent.
You're right.
Yeah.
To be honest, I 100% agree with that.
That's probably my pick too.
Yeah, I was bored with that, but I was like,
the
oh,
moment,
shit.
and then you look over to the right and you see the stairwell, and there's the painting of Donna and her doll, and like,
yeah, you were right.
I had to go over. I was like, is that doll staring at me?
Yeah.
And it was just such a great spot to like absorb the atmosphere.
Yeah, Rob's
and
right.
then-
I changed my answer to what he's saying.
I also changed my answer. I knew there was a better answer than what I had, and that's
So there are two in particular for House B for me. Is the second is when you walk through that door after escaping the basement and open the door to the kitchen, and all those fucking dolls are staring at you, and that's just like, oh fuck.
I think the
fuck.
part of this game that will always stay with me is when you're first Rob said first coming out to Beneviento, and I'm looking at the fall, like I think I even took a picture right before Beneviento.
Yep.
But like and I it's like
Same.
it's like that Twitter account, pictures taken seconds before a disaster.
Yeah.
Absolutely in this case. But anyway, I'm looking at the falls and I'm like, this is so pretty. And then I just moved to the right, and like I feel like I did a mental double take where I was like, that just looks like a normal house. And then I just feel like dread just creeping up in my stomach. I'm like, this isn't right. Where are the
very
lichens?
effective.
Where is everybody? What's going on?
It's so fucking normal. It's
unsettling.
unnerving.
It is upsetting. It is
Yeah.
upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was very effective
Yeah,
at
very well
instilling
done.
what I was hoping to get from a modern horror game. It's
Yeah.
just that like sense of dread, like you explained.
Interestingly, and I'm guessing this is intentional, they never use that area in Mercenaries either. Like, they use the little area with, like, her yellow flowers and stuff. That's in one of them, but they
Right.
never use the actual building, probably because it has that vibe of, like, everything is very normal here, and it's not right for this game, and they don't want to,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, change it for the sake of, here's an
Cheapen it?
environment in Mercenaries. Yeah, cheapen it. That's a good word.
I do have one more. When you first walk through the gates into the factory, like on the outside and walking up to the factory,
Right by that
really-
bridge.
Yeah, but like when you're in like through the gate proper, like through the metal gates, and like you see like the old tanks and shit.
Yep.
Like it's so out of place in the settings that we have been thus far. I love that kind of stuff. That's just like, this is really fucking out of nowhere, kind of a thing. And the way like, because like the sun is setting, you go there at sunset.
Yep.
It's just a views in the back. Turn to the left, you can see the castle off into the distance. So walking up to the factory as well was another point where I was like, God, this game is fucking gorgeous. So
Yeah, it was one of those, like, a second I got to that, like, skybox, so to speak, and, like, right before the bridge, and just sat there and was like, this, like, it's supposed to look gross and grody, but it also looks really cool and really good.
also giant metamycete fetus.
Yeah, that was pretty iconic.
Yeah, that's it. We'll get to that.
Yeah, so on this production line, did you guys shoot down a soldat? There's a trophy
I didn't
and a
even
challenge
think
for
to.
it.
I did eventually.
I didn't even think to.
I did once I saw that there was a challenge for it.
Yeah, I tried to initially. I was like, I'm going to shoot one of those things down, and it didn't work. And I was like, well, I guess you can't do that. And then I had to do
You
it on the
actually
second
shoot it?
playthrough because
Yeah, I shot it once. It was like it didn't fall. Oh,
Yeah.
well.
yeah, I think I tried with the pistol or something. Another thing is like both with these and then also with the bird cages that we've been knocking down throughout the game. I always try to shoot the chain. Don't shoot the chain. You just shoot the thing and it falls down.
Yeah, I
chain
just shot the
doesn't
cage
work.
itself.
Yeah.
on those ones at least. But yeah, I fired one round, didn't drop. Was like, oh, maybe it was the wrong one or something. I'll just deal with it later. But yeah, it is pretty funny when you go back and do it and just watch it. Boop.
Yep.
Plummets down.
So I love when you get in this area and you get up to the Duke and he's on an elevator and there's 3 buttons, B4, B3, B1. And it's immediately obvious, like, oh, this is Castle Demetrius 2. This is a big freaking area.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was like, well, I'm in it for a while. And again, Seb was with me throughout all of this. So every time I would see one of the guys or I'd be near him, I'd go, oh my God. I almost wish I had recorded it. It was very funny because I was very much on edge. My poor partner was trying to sleep, and I was not making it easy for her. Yeah.
The soldats were very scary. Like, so I ran through this whole area, like avoiding the soldats because I did not know I could kill them. It's very obvious they have a big weak point on their chest, but I shot it a few times and it didn't seem to do anything because I was just using the pistol. They don't even really stun if you shoot it with the pistol. So I ran past all of them, and then I got to the end, and there's like a gate that I was supposed to have one of them break or something. Ran past all that, and then realized, oh, I can kill these guys, because I killed the one, like, as I was having him open that gate for me, I ended up killing him. I was like, oh, I can kill all these guys? I'm going to go back to this area and kill all these guys, and then I wasn't afraid of them anymore. I was like, I am murdering the ever-loving shit out of all these.
I have an issue as far as killing them, and you're right. As soon as you kill that one, and, like, you get the initial, like, oh, you shoot them in the chest a shit ton.
Yeah.
The rest
thought it
of
was
that
cool
area
that
is
they-
pretty much a cakewalk. I mean,
I thought it was cool that they blocked. So it added a little wrinkle that you couldn't just fire off, and you had to dodge or move at the last second, and then fire at the release spot. Like you couldn't just spam
absolutely.
shooting.
Yeah. Certain.
And then-
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you got it.
Certain guns, if you shoot, like, while they have their arm blocking, when you shoot their arm, they'll, like, recoil and throw it back, and you can just keep shooting them in the chest then, especially shotguns like the SIG. And also, if you knock off their visor, like we were talking about earlier, they go into that crazy mode where they're just, like, swinging their fists forward over and over again.
You know what I really wanted to do? I really wanted to get those henchmen hit by those giant claws, or not giant claws, giant
I tried to do that as well. The piston things.
yeah, and they just the one that I tried just stopped short of it, but you can do it. It is
No,
possible.
I don't think you
I've
can.
done. Nope,
tried
I've
doing
done
the
it.
same thing.
I did it. Some
What?
of them walked into it and died.
Fuck.
Yeah.
We suck at games.
me and Tyler
we
just
play
on that
games the
same
way.
wavelength.
I'll send you my hat. You wear it for the next podcast, and you meet.
The first time I went through that little area with the pistons, though, I didn't even notice the red buttons, and I just ran underneath all of them, which I did get hit once at the very end of that. I thought that was just the way you were supposed to do that.
I didn't notice the buttons either. I thought you were supposed to time everything. So I just timed everything, and I just got through it.
Really? I
Yeah.
I definitely shot those off.
I had no idea that you were supposed to shoot anything. I just timed it so I got like they would go down.
The
and
only
go
reason
up.
I noticed them is because I was like, oh, that's a big glowing ass thing like on the dude's chest that I've been shooting.
Yeah.
I'm assuming because you actually notice those later when you're opening the fan, or like you're stopping the fan, you probably saw those
Yeah.
buttons. I didn't notice those for a while
I
either.
didn't
I was
make
like,
a
what am I supposed to do
correlation
here?
Yeah.
I
like, this
noticed
whole
when I
section
was
very
playing, they
quick.
were using those lights as like cues for breakables, and so
For the
yeah,
doors. I did
yeah.
notice that, yeah.
exactly. And so
That was so fun, by the way, using
Yeah.
the knife to like break various parts. And there was a really fun part. Well, I say fun, but I mean terrifying, where one of the soldats were like right behind me, and I was like, oh, I got a knife it, I got a knife it.
Yeah, going back to the soldats too is, I kind of touched on it earlier, but I love the fact that they evolve as you go through the factory. Like they
Yeah.
have more armor. The weak point changes from the front to the back. It just slowly you have to change your strategy up as you go through this area, and I think that is so fucking brilliant. Like game design to like, oh hey, here's this enemy. We're gonna show you this enemy. It's gonna change over time. So don't get too comfortable. with what you're doing, because
Yeah.
you're gonna have to figure out a new way of playing.
Those fully armored ones are like very intimidating.
Yeah.
They spread several of them throughout Mercenaries mode, and they are no less intimidating there. Much more intimidating, even.
You know what's weird is this is the area I probably use the sniper rifle the most. It's just
This is the area I think I used them. I really started using the mines, I think, in the factory, because I had been hoarding them and I'd only used them a few times throughout when I was really in a rough spot. But yeah, this is the part where I really started using them a little more frequently, because especially those guys that are fully armored, they are just tough.
Yeah, I think the mines are one of the most invaluable items in this game. Like I was shocked at how many I used.
That's the thing is, I learned very early on that those mines were going to be a godsend for me,
Yeah.
and like they were instrumental in saving ammo.
Rob,
for
I think
other
we
guns.
said something similar the last episode as well. Like
Well, that's what the last episode was right. That tutorial you get basically the first time you're by the wheat fields, and it teaches you like, okay, here's a cluster of lichen, here's like a setup, here's like the flower and the barricade. This is a learning opportunity.
It really
and-
became invaluable, and they gave you so many resources to constantly create more. As
Exactly.
you go. It's like incredible.
And that's what I would kind of rotate between is like, okay, I've been picking up a few mines lately. I have like 4 in stock in my inventory. I'll use the resources to make some shotgun shells or some sniper rounds or something. And okay, I'm getting a little bit low on my mines, so I'll juggle and focus on a couple of those. And so it was a good balance constantly of what I needed when, but I felt validated in using them in so many different instances because there are so many opportunities where you get swarmed. And they just have like tons of dudes kind of encompassed around you. And so like, yeah, what I was talking about with like the stronghold, yeah, I got really good at pathing, but I use that pathing to drop mines. Like there's when you're at the very pit of the stronghold, and then some of them drop down, drop a mine right at the base of those stairs because it's a funnel. And there are similar spots here in the factory where you can do that and just bait them around tunnels, and then like stun them with those little the electro spots. Drop a mine, run away.
Glad you brought that up. I love that aspect, that, like the environment, like that you
the
were able
EMP
to use
thing
in this area to like stun them and give yourself an opportunity for an opening of a shot. I love that shit.
Yep.
And the fact that it refreshes, so it's like, this doesn't go to waste. I can use this again if I need to.
Yeah, it's encouraging you to participate.
Yeah,
and try to experiment with it. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I love.
Tails nicely into what I want to talk about. I know we're kind of jumping all over the place, but
that's fine.
That's fine.
Combat in general in this game, I think, is superb.
Yeah,
you know, especially in
really
like
good.
a first-person shooter, a survival horror game. You know, if you want to call it. To me, it's more of an action game, especially at this point. But the way that you can approach every encounter is so unique and different, and there were so many times where I was switching up my play style on the fly that, like, I think that's where a majority of my enjoyment of this game came from. It was like I was constantly doing something different, not because, like, the thing I love about Resident Evil games is the puzzles, right? That's my favorite thing. And to me, I feel like they made combat a puzzle, especially towards the end, because there was so much of it that I had to figure out ways to utilize the guns I had and the resources I had to kind of work my way through that setting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you should definitely check out some more Mercenaries, because it is
I know.
very much a
Yeah,
puzzle of money
Mass
management and
Effect is a
combat
good
management.
game, so I'm just going to say that.
I won't argue there, but there's a reason why I instantly wanted to fire up like almost immediately a Village of Shadows playthrough on New Game Plus, and then instantly wanted to keep playing like with Mercenaries and stuff. Like it feels great.
Yeah. Fuck, it feels so good.
Huge shout out to Crypto Zookeeper in the Discord who posted those settings from was it Danny O'Dwyer? I think he said he posted them on Twitter.
Sounds right.
Because I changed those settings about halfway through the factory, and the game feels so much better. It already felt fine, but I don't think I could have done Mercenaries with those settings. With like basically it starts where your reticle moves slow and then moves faster as you're moving it.
Oh,
and turning that off
is
is essential.
I hate aim acceleration. It's an issue that's on so many different shooters in general, and I always turn it off because no, let me constantly be able to determine with consistency the rate at which, no matter what way I'm moving, like it's replicatable or replicable no matter what circumstance. And yeah, like the great advice for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
now that we're talking about combat and stuff, I think this is actually the first time I played a first-person shooter since we played Resident Evil 7.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I played Bioshock 2, I guess, in between there, but
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a
other than
first-person
that-
shooter.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I do not touch this type of genre a lot as far as first-person games go. It's usually third-person or something like that.
I want to also point out, I've got nothing to add to this conversation because the combat is great. There is also a pop song called Factories. I just want to point that out. So
Thank you.
I don't.
It's so
I think,
fucking
I
good.
think Capcom's taking more than just art designs, but also taking
Yeah.
songs.
Pup is a
Bunch of hacks.
great fucking band. If you haven't listened to Pup, listen to that band. This is fucking incredible.
Yeah, just really weird. I was like, wait, don't they have a song called Fat?
That's
It's like
funny.
what?
That's super.
Alright.
But yeah, the combat's great. I don't know anything about aim acceleration, but I'm glad that they give people options for that.
Yeah, I didn't change my settings at all. So
Yeah, I didn't either.
I would, if you're gonna go back to the game, I would look at those settings that Crypto posted in the Resident Evil channel and
I'm
just
really
try it.
conflicted. Like, I really enjoy the game, but I don't know if I'd go back to it. There are certain parts of it that I think I couldn't go back to it if I wanted to, and I also feel like I want to preserve the feeling that I felt the first time, and I don't want to like feel like, oh, this is a grind, or I know what's going to happen, and now it's like not scary, or you know, I don't know. I feel like I might get
I
a little
feel
jaded
like
on some parts.
with that, like on multiple replays of a game, like Bloodborne being one in particular, and also now this, like my first experience was still my first experience, and I had those revelations when I did, and anything I do after that, like on a replay, doesn't really touch issues. Like if there's something I find like I'm playing on Village of Shadows, so things are a little bit different and more of a slog in some instances. That has no impact on the first time I got to experience those things, and it doesn't detract from like going through House Beneviento the second time. I was able to cruise through that in like 30 minutes tops.
Yeah.
But like having the experience I did the first time was still super engrossing. It's just
Yeah.
okay now.
I mean-
I understand the mechanisms, but I'm choosing to opt into this opportunity
Sure.
this time.
yeah, it's like
I think that's like
go
I think that's more of my fear than like I don't know if that's actually what would
That's
happen.
understandable. I totally
yeah.
get that, and I respect that. It's the lens I think through which I view replays and stuff.
Yeah.
That experience was its own thing. You'll never get that back. Like I wish I could experience Breath of the Wild for the first time or Bloodborne for the first time again. Never gonna happen. But I treasure that time I had,
sure.
and that's part of what encourages me to like revisit some stuff. Is like I loved that moment. Here's looking at it through a different way now, like seeing certain pieces the next time.
yeah, I agree. Like I played through like Skyward Sword or Wind Waker multiple times, right? And every time I played through those games, it has never sullied that first time I experienced those
For sure.
stories.
Yeah.
But
So-
it could for some people it totally could.
Yeah, I mean, I will also be honest. I don't replay games very often. It takes a lot for me to replay a game.
For sure.
And like, you
There's
know,
so
Sorry,
many
I am
games
right
out
there
right
with
now.
you because I definitely don't replay games anymore. I used to all the time, but
Yeah.
I definitely do not now.
yeah, I think I
There's just too
the
much.
game
stuff
I
to play.
replay the most is Kingdom Hearts 2, but like that's a very special exception for me, and I like
For sure.
speedrunning it. But I can't imagine myself speedrun. That's the only other way I'd replay this game, I think, and not for like more difficulty. I think I would. That's where I'm conflicted. I'm like, I feel like this is a cool. So like, I don't know if y'all know, but like people have it down to about an hour and a half on New Game Plus.
I believe it.
which is wild.
Which difficulty?
Without, which
I-
difficulty and without bugs or anything?
Like
I
glitches?
don't know. I didn't check out the video. I think it was casual.
I'll have to look into that.
But yeah, definitely people have it really down already.
That's
The
cool.
world record I think is something like 126 or something.
I
'Cause-
believe
Hour
it.
and 26.
yeah,
Could
I would
fly
actually.
through it.
Would be a really great game for that. Me being a controller player, I can't get good at mouse and keyboard. I've tried. I'm sure I could if I put enough effort, but I haven't put forth that effort.
Chris, we just like playing on console. It's okay.
That's true, but even when I play on PC, I play with a controller because I'm a noob. This game,
Same.
I could see myself speedrunning potentially on casual specifically because the auto aim is very strong in this game. It will
Really?
aim right at the head, and you will get headshots almost every time.
That almost makes me want to replay it. That comment makes me want to replay it.
Yeah, I there's no auto aim whatsoever, but it feels really good to get your precise shots.
Yeah, on all the other difficulties, there's no auto aim.
Well, I guess so. The auto aim that I could see potentially there being is like the hitbox being slightly expanded with mouse and keyboard, as opposed to like magnetism that you get with controllers.
Oh yeah, I wonder.
Magnetism. What is this, Heisenberg?
Yeah, I wonder if I assume so on mouse and keyboard on casual. If it still does like super hardcore auto aim, I would assume so for casual specifically, because it literally just wants you. Like the whole point of casual is like I'm here for the story. It's
Right,
they give you the headshots for free.
Yeah, I'd have to experiment with that and see. No idea.
Cool. So I don't have a lot of notes on the factory beyond that up until the Sturm fight. You guys have anything else in the factory itself that stood out to you before that?
Yeah, I just like I like the whole concept of going and finding like the metal
molds.
and smelting it down. And
Yeah, that was
making
fun.
the keys. I thought that was cool. I like the little ball puzzle for this area. You know, we didn't talk about the ball puzzle for the reservoir. It wasn't really memorable, but I think the ball puzzle here is. Where
It was more
like,
challenging.
I
Yeah,
hated
it's-
it so much. That was the worst.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about it. It took me a while to do it. I think that's what, like, my overall playtime was like 9 hours and 14 minutes, and I think a good 40 minutes of that was me trying to get this fucking ball puzzle because I could not get this thing to get around this track and onto that tram.
I had one fall off, I think.
Oh,
Really?
I had
Yeah.
multiple fall offs.
Part of what happened or what helped was like just rotating the camera to get
I tried.
to get to the position in it. But again, like we had this conversation regarding the ball puzzles last time. There's a possibility that it's easier with mouse and keyboard
It could
because
be,
like it might not have a pull to its different thing where I was able to just like tap shift the direction stuff was sliding and kind of control it pretty well.
Yeah.
But there was one pit basically I did. Okay, that's not true. It was maybe the third time because there was a spot where there's that wheel,
Mhm.
the water wheel,
I'm also
where
on that one once.
I couldn't quite get it to line up just right. But yeah, otherwise it was lengthy. But
Yeah,
I
the
thought it was
camera.
fun.
The camera was really bad for me on this one.
Yeah.
Not a friend. The camera is not a friend.
Definitely
to
was not
the
helpful.
user on that
Yeah.
I
at
agree.
all.
Yeah, I probably also spent like 20-30 minutes on this. And I had somebody watching me play, and they were like, "Do you need to do this? What are you doing?"
The
This
money,
is the
I need
worst.
this crystal. I need to sell this shit.
the money, Lebowski.
The Duke
Yeah.
is in the other. He's in the other room right now.
He
He's
wants
waiting.
this
He's
money.
judging
He wants
me.
it.
I have a question. This is apropos of nothing. Where does the Duke have all that money? Where do you think he gets all that money?
Oh, he
Just like-
totally stole from the villagers.
he just gives you all that money. You're just selling him crystals, and he's giving you lay left and right. Where?
I don't know. He's the Duke.
What's he doing? What's he doing?
Isn't it Duke like a noble of some sort? Like he probably owns a lot of stuff. He's probably
but
rich.
I mean, they call him the Duke, but that doesn't
It
necessarily.
could be
He's-
just a pseudonym, but yeah,
well,
there's
with
very
all the
little
money
known
he's
about
got,
him.
I think not.
He's
Well,
actually
fair.
the Duke is actually a professional boxer, and he likes to duke it out for prize money. So I had to
See,
call him the Duke.
okay, so what it was is he pulled a fast one on the merchant, his buddy.
He is. I'll tell you what. From
And
his
got all of
character,
his-
he is not moving fast at all on it.
It's true. But I wonder if, yeah, he pulled a fast one on the merchant from RE4, and just has a Swiss bank account somewhere and converted the money.
Don't
What if
they?
he's just the merchant from RE4? He just took his cloak off.
Look,
That's what it is.
I know we're going on a tangent, but isn't there the guy in Punch Out called Big Hippo or whatever, and he's
Yeah.
like a really
Hippo,
tough
yep.
boss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
don't,
Punch
I
him
don't
in
think
the
he's a
belly
tough
button.
boss, but he's like the second or third guy, right?
Yeah, he's not very difficult.
I'll go.
But I mean, he's still a professional boxer.
He
Good
just
for
goes, mop, mop.
him. All right, Dory, did you have anything else to say before the Sturm boss fight?
I really like the factory. I don't really see all the negativity about it. I understand it was a little confusing, but I think that's by design. And I think that's what made it so tense for me. I felt, and one of the great parts that we should talk about too is the mold part, not that kind of mold, the key mold, the key mold.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where-
we mentioned it while you were getting a snack. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Whoops. But basically, like you have to just kind of stand there and like awkwardly like look at the door. It's like, okay, don't come in, don't come in. Can they come in that room? They can come in that room,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And so
They'll come in that room.
I got lucky. I got lucky. They never came in that room, but I think it's just because they gave them the runaround.
I only think I had once where that was a thing where I got one of the guys come in, and it was
when you made the horse key.
yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I like how it kept changing just a little bit when you revisited spots and
Yep.
like got the horse key. Like each time you went back, there was a change to like some of the pathing, and like the last time, the lights are completely off.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, the soldats do definitely have some pretty tight tethering though. Like that
Yeah.
one door I was talking about that you have to have one break. I tried to drag one from really far away to do that, and he would not follow me far enough to break that door.
All right, so can we talk about how our expectations for Sturm might have been a little higher than his actual payout? Because I feel like this dude was
Oh,
a
I thought it was
joke.
a fun fight.
Well,
It wasn't
I'm not saying it's not a
hard.
fun fight. I'm just saying he was a joke, at least on casual. Like
Oh no,
once I knew.
he was not difficult in the least, but it was a fun fight.
Oh, okay.
It was fun, like to see the environment slightly shift by the
No, I
destruction.
thought it was a fine fight. I was just surprised how easy it was. It was just like a charging bull kind of fight.
I think the reason it was so easy is because that area, like I mentioned earlier, is like that those enemy types are constantly evolving, and he is just basically the epitome of that evolution. So we were ramping up to that point as far as that fight. So it was like as every soldat was adding armor to it, it was just like, okay, we're gonna change up the way that we fight this enemy, and then it just was a constant change up into that boss fight, and that was just the culmination of it. So it flowed so well together that it made the boss fight seem seamless in a way. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like the boss fight a lot. It definitely took me a while. It was probably like a 20-minute fight or so. I think maybe my weapons just weren't up to snuff, but I shot him in the butt a lot, but it took a lot of shots. I also,
It
like
took
I said,
a lot of ammo.
yeah, like I said earlier, I was being too conservative with my Magnum. I didn't use any Magnum ammo there. It was all shotgun and pistol, and sniper. Which we didn't mention, when you get to this area at the beginning, you can buy the best pistol and best shotgun finally. Did any of you guys buy either of those?
I didn't. I really should have. I initially, for whatever reason, I thought that what you could buy was an SMG.
I
don't
also
know.
thought that at first.
I
The
thought
SIG
it
I
was
looks,
an
also thought
SMG.
that it's a shotgun.
Yes.
yeah, the SIG
It's a
looks like an
drum-
SMG.
It's a drum shotgun.
Did not buy it.
Yeah, but I didn't realize until the second time through, or like on my second playthrough, because I had unlocked unlimited ammo for the second shotgun. And yeah, by the time I was like, I've already invested so much of this in this gun at this point. It's fine.
Yeah, there are like the third level of pistol and shotgun are very expensive with very expensive upgrades. Like
I got the third pistol,
nice. Yeah, I like that one is automatic.
the
Because you
machine
can.
pistol. Yeah,
Because once you get the drum, you can carry like I'm at 48 bullets and I'm not even maxed out. You can carry probably like 60 bullets in a round.
Holy shit.
It's basically an SMG at that point.
That's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
But yeah, I've not finished fully upgrading those yet. I've been way overly conservative with my challenge points, considering I've done most of the challenges at this point. I bought the infinite ammo sniper rifle and the grenade launcher, and I still have like 564,000 challenge points. I don't know why. I should have just bought an infinite ammo shotgun and pistol, the ones that I had maxed out, because I maxed out the first two of each of them. But I was trying to get the very expensive ones, the very fancy, nice ones. I'm a fancy lad. So yeah, after the Stern fight,
This
Okay.
is the place. The factory is where I stuck with the second-hand pistol because I was pretty happy with it. And I also asked Seb. I was like, "Did you upgrade?" And I was like, "I'm not sure about that because I like where my pistol's at." He's like, "Yeah, I didn't pick up the third one." So I was like, "All right." And then I did. Did I? No, I stuck with my second shotgun too because I liked that it handled crowds. And for me, that was more important than handling single targets. But I mean, I can see an argument either way, obviously.
yeah, I think the SIG is still fine for handling crowds as well. I didn't pick up either until my New Game Plus run either, to be clear. They're prohibitively expensive to get on that first run. You have to choose one or the other if you're going to get either at all.
Yeah, that was the other part too. I was like, this costs a lot, and I'll have to sell stuff, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I want to do that. So I just
I set my bed with the third pistol and like fully upgraded it as soon as I could, and had spent a lot on upgrading pretty much all the shotgun or the second shotgun because I wanted to just keep that. I don't know. It was just, it did me well for so long and had pretty good rate of fire. I was satisfied with it. And I was also investing a lot in the sniper too, because that thing was not quite as powerful as the Magnum, but still had so much punch to it that I could drop most of the dudes in the factory in like 2, maybe 3 shots with the sniper rifle.
Yeah, sniper rifle is really good, fully upgraded. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so this is the part where we meet up. Well, we get thrown down to the bottom of the factory by Heisenberg when he turns into that giant weird monster thing, which I was very disappointed that we did not get like a badass humanoid fight with him, like having metal surrounding him and like throwing it at you and using it to shield himself and stuff. I was expecting that, and instead he just turns into a weird monstrosity immediately. And throws you down to the ground, and then we get some revelations here. Does anyone want to talk about what a dumbass Chris is? Not me. Don't talk bad about me, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is really fucking annoying. This is
honestly, I mean, we could have really gotten a better
game.
host than this. I feel like. So.
Well, that's the end of the
I'm kidding.
Fuck.
No, this was super frustrating because it's like, Chris, you could have just fucking told us this at the beginning.
They even acknowledged it, that one line of dialogue from the Wolf Squad is like, "You really should have told Ethan." He's like, "Yeah," but it is super. It's a little frustrating. It's like, this could have been solved. Like, this whole issue could have been set up completely differently with like 3 sentences.
This was frustrating, and I think it. I was talking to Sarah Podzorsky of MinMax, and while she was streaming, and she was complaining about the same thing, and I was like, Sarah, it's just like the final boss of RE8 was toxic masculinity the whole time. Chris just wouldn't fucking communicate, and it's like, dude, just fucking talk to Ethan. Like, that's all you had to do, man. But I don't know if it's like he can't trust anybody anymore. I don't know if shit happened to Sheva and
well,
RE6
his excuse was that he didn't know if Mother Miranda had infected him as well.
Right, and he couldn't trust him.
Yeah,
and also like
a shit excuse.
Oh yeah,
that
that and like the logic pathing of Chris has been at this for what, 15 years, probably 20 years.
Yeah.
He's been fighting Umbrella and doing all like the same rigmarole. And how many people has he lost throughout doing how many squads and organizations?
Yeah, why have they not just started burning all these bodies? As soon as like they think someone's dead, set that motherfucker on fire.
Yeah, I mean, he has a throwaway line about them being careless, but like, careless doesn't even cover it, dude. Like, you should have fucking made sure that Mia was dead.
Well, yeah, Mia Miranda, but
Mia Miranda, right?
Yeah, like I probably like trying to keep her to study her to potentially the logic I saw was like using the body to study the Megamycete to have a chance of stopping it or something.
Yeah, because I mean, to be fair, he still does work for Umbrella. I mean,
yeah, true.
Even though it's rebranded as something else, it is still.
But like knowing Chris, like he doesn't. You could tell he clearly does not want to cause more issues like outbreaks and stuff like that. Obviously, but my thought at least was more like he using this as a means to destroy their primary objective. But like still straight up, like could have just said that's not Mia.
Yeah. It's so weird because he's like, he has a line like, this job is hard enough without getting civilians
involved. Yeah,
but like Ethan survived Resident Evil 7 and he's been getting military training presumably from Umbrella. He's not a civilian. I don't like, what world is he a civilian?
Yeah, they helped him.
Well, it's because he doesn't have an official ranking or anything with any organization.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can see that, but also like
Ethan's proven himself.
there has to be a million different places and ways they could have killed fake Mia where Ethan was not standing 2 feet away and they did not have to, like, Chris did not have to move that table out of the way and just say, "What's up, Ethan?" and then shoot Mia in the face 5 times. Like, that was not necessary.
You're going to tell me after everything that happened in RE7, they didn't test the fuck out of Ethan to see if he was a mold man?
Yeah, that just got weird.
What? What?
No, they had bigger fish to fry, probably.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Like Moreau.
That's right.
Got him.
Yeah.
Got him.
Well, there's a lot more, I'm sure, to unpack with that. What a stupid way to structure the story is. But
it's all for reveals. Like
It's,
all
yeah,
for-
I was gonna say it's absolutely. They only did it like this just so the reveal would happen at the last possible second, and yeah, it does feel a little cheap. I liked the reveal that Mia was actually Miranda, and like I liked that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I
explained
did
everything.
too. I like that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
and like I
made
thought it was
sense.
good. I just felt like Chris, you should have fucking told him. Like,
It
so
was
long ago.
unnecessary, dragging it out unnecessarily.
Yeah, because by the end of 7, you're kind of like led to assume, in the way that this one starts, like knowing that he has had that military training, that him and Chris are bros. Like, that's
they're
why
at least
I
close to
was
some
like,
extent.
oh,
They're also like mutual survivors from a certain circumstance and
yeah, I was
dealing
like,
with.
oh, they're
that. But
yeah,
I don't know.
one of the
There's
things
no
they talk
good
about.
reason.
Yeah,
for it.
one of the things they talk about in the concept art is that they originally had Chris like just coming and visiting the Winterses because they have concept art of him in civilian clothes, just like coming and visiting them and having dinner with them and stuff. So like they're clearly friends in some way at this point. So it's just it seems like a thing that they needed for marketing. Like they're like, we need Chris being evil to be this cool
Retention.
marketing thing where people are
Yeah.
gonna be like, oh, I want to see why Chris is evil, even though most people assume like he's probably not actually evil.
There's
There's
just
no
an
reason.
He's like the
explanation.
most genuine good guy of the Resident Evil series because he's the one that they keep fucking bringing back. Out of everybody else, he's always coming
He's
back.
just hardened and grizzled now,
right.
and he's got the like matted down hair.
and smokes
Right.
a pack a day.
It's his hair is matted down from all those lies he's holding in beneath it.
Got him.
See if you can turn your mic up again, Tyler, because it's
See if
getting a little
you
quiet
can
again.
turn your mic up again.
Fine, I will. Even though
How
it's
about
already loud enough. I'll turn it up
What
more.
about that?
I'll drown y'all out. How you like that?
What about this?
Oh, that's great.
Sounds great.
I love it. And okay, so now we get into the actual fight with Heisenberg when you crawl into this big,
Oh,
what do they
it's
call it,
so
metal
great.
polymer.
This
It's
is
so
fucking
over the top.
alien
weird
as
crap.
fuck. This is
Yeah.
aliens. The gods. This is Sigourney Weaver. You are
Yep.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I didn't
Bananas
even know
and
how to
epic.
fucking process this fight. I was done with it, and I was like, "Did I like that fight, or did I not like?" It was so bonkers. I didn't even know how to process it.
Yeah, it's very like fever dream. Like it's
Yeah.
like that happened because as soon as it's over, it's like you're thrust into all kinds of shit.
Yeah, I had very little time to process that fight, and watching it back, I do think I like it. It is a very weird fight for Resident Evil, but I mean, hey, it is a fight. It's not a bad one. It's just
I like having a chainsaw for a hand.
Yeah, you like block with your chainsaw hand.
Yeah,
I know.
I like that. That was
I
cute.
think he picked it up from Jack. That's my headcanon.
Oh yeah, there you go. That was actually you just driving Jack.
Yeah.
Got turned into that vehicle.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
goofy and over the top, but it was kind of like in keeping with the pacing of driving shit up to 11. It was totally going up that path.
I mean, if anyone's going to put it up to 11, it's going to be Heisenberg. I mean, I will say that's completely in character with him to just turn into this fucking machine monster thing.
But like straight up, why didn't he just squish Ian right then and there?
You mean Ethan?
Yeah, Ethan. Why didn't Heisenberg squish Ethan right then and there?
That's a great
True.
question. He likes to play with his food. I don't know.
We'll
Yeah.
take this question off air, please.
There are some plot holes in Resident Evil 8, like there are in any Resident Evil game, basically.
Yeah.
If he wanted to be done with him and didn't want him interfering anymore, like, okay, sure, kick him down the thing, fuck him, whatever. Okay, he survived. Go mecha mode. Just he doesn't know Ian's made of mold, right? So doesn't understand the possibility of him surviving any
Yeah.
of this shit. So he could just straight up gank him.
Yeah. There's a line here that I love, and I know I'm pretty sure
Oh,
we all
yeah.
love. He says,
Yeah.
like, when Chris blows up the factory, he says, I'm going to kill that boulder punching asshole.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this fucking line. Let's talk about this fucking because first off, okay, mad props that they reference this because this is
It's
a great
so
line.
stupid. I love it.
2, it absolutely had to be Heisenberg that was going to reference this. No
Yeah.
one else would have referenced it. Number 3, how the fuck does he know about this? How does he know about the fucking boulder punch? Who told him? How does he know?
He played Resident Evil 5, man.
Just I don't know. I love it. It's so great. It's up there with Lycans and Gentlemen. But I don't know how the fuck Heisenberg knows, except that he checks Twitter. That's the only thing I got.
Yeah, Chris,
For the
you
memes.
posted on Twitter after Resident Evil 5. Punch a fucking boulder, man.
Just punch a boulder, man. Gotta hit the gym again in a couple months.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I love that he does.
I do. I as well. I'm not seriously criticizing it, but that was definitely, a thought that occurred to me, especially other people talking about it. Like, how does he know about that? But I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's friends with Wesker. Maybe Wesker told him. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say for this fight, I also liked it playing through it on standard. But the one fight that I'm kind of nervous about with Village of Shadows, because from what I hear, because you don't get to take any of your weapons into it, at least not the part that you're in the mech, it's basically you have to be a perfect first-person shooter player for like 6 minutes, because even blocking, you can only take 3 hits and there's no heals, so you have to dodge a lot of stuff and shoot very precisely. It is rough from what I hear.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.
Rip.
All right.
I've endured worse hells.
Yeah, that's
Probably.
true. You're a Bloodborne player, so
Yeah,
You'll
you
be
play
fine.
Doom on hard difficulties. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. Let me tell you about Nightmare Mode.
I would love for Rob to be like against the ropes, and he's like, "You fool, you absolute fool! I play Doom on hard mode."
All right, so you kill Heisenberg, he blows the fuck up, and then Miranda shows up and rips out your heart.
That's
Literally. Not
Metaphorically,
figuratively.
no,
Not
damn.
metaphorically. Nope.
I loved this, and I thought I wasn't sure, but I wanted them to commit to killing Ethan here, because obviously I hadn't seen the reveal yet, but I was like, just Capcom, fucking commit to this, kill Ethan here and now, and have me be as Chris, and wrap this up, that would be perfect. I still like what we got in the end, but I really still, part of me still wished Ethan had died there. I know I'm a horrible human being, but I wish Ethan had died there, and then you just picked up as Chris and then taken everybody else
No,
out.
I agree. I think that it would have been a crazy strong ending if they would have left him in that moment and you finished off as Chris. That's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And I was shocked that was not what we got.
Yeah.
You don't understand. He's special.
Yeah,
super.
You
Line
don't
assistant.
understand how special he is.
But I do
Now-
understand now.
Now I wonder. All right, this might get gross, but Rose, how the hell does she exist?
I mean, that's why she's the perfect vessel, right?
Yeah,
I
she's a
guess.
little
She's a mold
Mold's
baby.
The genetic fusion of human and mold, I guess.
I mean, this is like that fucking thing in that Spider-Man comic in the 80s or 90s where they tried to copy The Dark Knight Rises, or not The Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight Returns, or whatever the fuck it's called. Yeah, Dark Knight Returns.
Mhm.
And
I'll find another one.
the Spider-Man Peter kills MJ by wait, I don't even want to get into it, but it just
Fair,
reminds
fair.
me of it, and I just this
There are
is just fucking
logistical questions that when you get down to the biology of it, you start to. You don't know if you really should pursue that line of logic
Yeah,
because
exactly, right?
you don't know if it's going to lead anywhere good.
It doesn't lead anywhere
It
good.
doesn't seem
I'm
like,
sure.
yeah, it's just Resident Evil reasoning. It's just goofy and
we don't
dumb,
even
and I
know
love
how
it.
a mold man reproduces. It's fine.
Yeah, we don't know
With
nothing about that
love.
moment.
with the power of love.
That's right.
Love is love.
But yeah, I like that they make a point of the cutscene immediately after is one of the Wolf Squad calling in and saying, "We can't collect the body, but 100% Ethan is dead." Like, guys, Ethan is dead. Okay, he's not coming back. He's gone. And then he totally comes back. I will say I'm glad that they bring him back, or at the very least that they bring back his tools. I could have seen them having you play as Chris, but for the ending, but giving you Ethan's inventory would have been nice. But I'm glad I got to do the final boss fight with my guns that I had been using and upgrading.
You had earned.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
not lost to
fair.
you. Yeah, that's part of what I was saying up at the front. I think they handled it well because it would for as many inconsistencies as it's had so far in some ways, it would have been weird for Chris to be using Ethan's weaponry.
Yeah.
Sure, he's been upgrading it, but it's Chris has been doing this for a long time. He's a military man. He knows he has his arsenal. So taking Ethan's oh well, well, one, like, how would he have even gotten that stuff really to begin with? Because he wasn't even at Ethan's corpse.
Yeah, I mean, they could have sent a scout squad. They could have hand waved.
Well, right, but also like,
but you would never have chosen the weapons.
I
yeah,
mean,
he would never have
technically, it was
chosen
just a
them.
quick jaunt across the bridge. It's not that you think about.
But
where
he's
he
got
was.
bigger fish to fry.
Not that far.
But to me, it made sense that he'd have his own kit, and I liked that the kit was powerful. But then it didn't, like you said, going back, it didn't erase any of the progress you had with Ethan for that last encounter.
It was
that would
a
have
good
been
middle
fucking
ground.
stupid. Yeah,
It was a good middle ground.
yeah. So they could still afford to shift it up.
I'm excited to just fucking toss people as Rose in the next game. But anyway, spoilers.
Yeah, so then you play this little section as Chris, like, going back through the village. There's no map, but, like, if you have been exploring the village, you know where you are and where you're going, which is very cool.
It
Love
feels
Love
like
going
Resident.
back to an area that's changed up after shit's gone awry. Love it.
It feels like Resident Evil 4, the village opening part 2.
Yeah.
Because the part 1 was just the opening of Resident Evil Village, but yeah, like going through as Chris again, it felt a little bit more like Leon going through the village in 4, just with like how fast paced and action packed it was.
I will say the laser pointer is a little. I got a little frustrated a couple points here too. I mean, not massively, and maybe I just didn't use my grenades well enough or didn't use them enough. But I definitely got overwhelmed and swarmed a couple times. I mean, I don't think I ever died. Maybe I died once. But yeah, I definitely got a little frustrated. Same issue. Lycans, just to use wrestling speak, they just no-sell bullets sometimes, and it's just really frustrating.
I didn't have an issue with it too much. It was like I used certain avenues to bait them and funnel them down, and then took a second, used the clear window, dropped or aimed the laser pointer, and then another wave would come. Like, I was able to pace it out pretty well. And if I started getting swarmed, like, I would then throw a grenade and then just mark it if they were starting to push in on me. So I, like, in general, like the laser pointer felt like it took an eternity, but it didn't cause me to really die, I don't think.
Yeah, I love this section because I just feel like playing as Chris, you just feel like a brick shithouse just running through all these enemies.
You're the boulder.
Yeah, you have so much ammo. You have, I mean, the weapons
I
you
had
have are
600
so
bullets
powerful.
at one point. 600 fucking bullets.
It's just like you're ready to go. So I'm like, throw anything you want at me. I don't give a fuck. Give me Mother Miranda right now. I'll take her. I'll take her and all these Lycans at the same time. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I thought that was going to be what I had to do, honestly.
Yeah, I was hoping. But I loved it.
It's
and then,
definitely
like, the way... Go ahead.
It's definitely like a huge power fantasy thing of like, you have been struggling, you've been counting your bullets. Let's just give you ridiculously powerful guns, too much ammo, more than you could possibly use, and then just go for it.
And
absolutely.
I love too, like, as things escalate as you get farther into the village and seeing the tendrils of Mother Miranda, like, and the fucking Metamycete kind of coming up out of the ground, and just like, you just see everything kind of going to shit in front of you. I love when you see an area that you have been in just change drastically.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It's great.
Definitely.
And it's like nighttime, and you can turn on night vision and shit.
Yeah, I was just about to say, night vision's so cool. It's like just like an automatic thing. Definitely. I know there was a meme going around about like, oh, this is how Call of Duty players would play.
Oh, that was so good. The
But,
30
like,
swaps.
But Chris literally is Call of Duty player 001. Like, that is him.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of hope we get a DLC playing as Chris, but I'll talk about that a little more at the ending here. So there's a little boss fight here with another one of these hammer guys. He's got like a big mace though, right? Basically, like a giant mace, two-handed mace. It's not like anything spectacular. If it takes you long enough, which on anything other than casual it will, the guy can like shoot his laser thing down in there.
I had to multiple times.
Yeah.
On hardcore, it was like I'd bait him around, have the missile launch, and then just shoot. But as he was staggered, just unload with the rifle in his back.
Yeah, I had to do a couple times on standard as well, but I played through that section twice on casual now, and like you can kill him. Like the dialogue will overlap of Chris saying, "Oh, he's down," and the other guy's like, "I'm ready to fire."
I'm one step ahead of you.
Yeah, and then this is where we see the Mega Mycete, the scenic Mega Mycete that we were talking about earlier. And he throws like this knife bomb thing into it, which it really looked like it was gonna fall back out, but Chris was confident in it, so. And then there's this great room at the end with just a ton of notes, a ton of pictures, a ton of information.
Like
This
a
shit rules. I love this
Frankenstein's lab kind of thing. It was cool.
Yeah, I love the room. Like in RE7, there was Lucas's like research room as well.
Yeah.
Like I love the end of the game lore dump. Here's why everything is actually science. We're explaining it. It's not magic voodoo stuff yet. Resident Evil will get there someday, but right now it's still virusy thing. Although I
always knew they were going to come back around.
Oh, of course.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah. They always do right at the end.
It's just wondering like how they justify those decisions is fun. And the text logs are great.
Yeah, I will say the one thing that's not really explained here, at least not that I saw, is like the mold in RE7 comes from here, right? She gave some to a lab or whatever, but she just like found it in a cave. So the mold itself is like just this weird ancient thing that we still don't really know where it came from.
It's just vibing. It's just vibing.
That is 100% correct.
Yep.
I also want to say, and Sarah pointed this out, so I can't take credit for this observation. It is a little tropey and kind of shitty what they were like. So why did Mother Miranda do all this? Well, she lost her baby, and basically she went into a cave to go die. And I was like, and I didn't mind that the first time I heard that, but I don't know. Sarah made this really funny joke about how like all women have their cave that they have to go walk in and die when they lose their baby or they get really upset. They just walk into their own individual cave. And then it got even funnier because she was like, imagine like going into your cave and someone's already there and you just kind of like walk out awkwardly and say like, oh shit, I guess I'm in the wrong cave.
You have to wait your turn.
You just have to wait your turn.
It's like that fucking
it's like that fucking suicide booth in Futurama. But anyway, I just thought, upon reflection in Sarah's comments, I just thought it was a little tropey, or like women get so emotional they can't handle it when their babies die. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too into it. I admit I could be, but
no, I could see that.
It's worth bringing
I
up
didn't think
sure.
about it, but I can see it.
Yeah. It seems a bit much, but I get it. I don't think it's wrong to have that as their motivation, but it does seem a little. Women are too emotional and blah blah blah, tropey kind of stuff. But
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I like this room a lot. Like I think a lot of the exposition was great. I was very confused at first about how to read a book. Apparently, you have to open it from the middle, not from the front. We've been reading books the whole time wrong.
And they only ever have like 3 sentences in them. In the middle of the whole book.
I didn't even think about that. This huge fucking book, and it's got like 3 pages of interest, and it's all in the center. And Chris just happens to find it. It's all in the center.
It's also in very large print that is easy to read.
Yes. Did everybody find the Spencer note? I missed it.
Yes, it's so.
I didn't find it. My buddy was talking to me about it yesterday, and I'm kicking myself in the ass.
I was like, ooh, I had read through all the books and I looked at a couple of the photographs on the wall, and so I noticed a lock on a cell, and I was like, oh, I wonder what's back here. Media cutscene.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it does.
fuck.
That's another one of those weird things where it's like, as soon as you shoot that, it locks you into the cutscene. There's no real indicator that that's going to happen, unfortunately. So you could easily miss stuff there. But yeah, it is very cool that like they kind of tie all of Resident Evil to this mold, like to RE8, as like the village is the originator of it. Because Spencer, he didn't use the mold to create the virus or anything, but he visited the village.
Well, I think he says that he took like the things that he learned from the village.
Yeah. He was inspired by what had been going
to create
on.
The virus. Yeah.
Exactly, and like used the emblem of the iconography for Umbrella.
Yeah, so all those Umbrella. It's funny they like plant those there very early for you to see those Umbrella logos, so you can be like, yeah, Umbrella's in on this. They're the bad guys in this one. Chris is actually evil, but nope. They took the logo from it.
Red herring, yeah.
It's cool.
You know what? I like that shit. I think I really like that shit.
I do too.
I
thought it was fun. It was like it's just, you could argue again, like, oh, it's just retconning, but it's like, it's providing a fun context.
So campy that
it's fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And like it gives more context to fucking Resident Evil 1. It gives more history to Spencer, who we didn't think was going to show up in this game at all. You know, it gives more context to Umbrella. and why we still don't know why that symbol was in the cave to begin with, but like whatever. Like that's where they got the symbol from. I guess all social media brands now should go into caves in like fucking Transylvania or some shit.
But don't interfere with the woman killing herself over her dead child.
Right. Don't interfere with that. She's lost her kid. She's gone through a lot. She can't handle it. But anyway,
go to the other cave.
Yeah, the other cave.
But it's like I said in the last episode, it's like they are so self-aware of what they have done with this series, and I think that note really nails it on the head of like, yeah, we're gonna tie all this back together with this shit, whether you like it or not, because this is where we're at, and
they wanted to have fun with it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after this room, you save Mia, and Mia has her line, "He's very special. You don't understand how special he is. Ethan's a special boy." And then you cut back to Ethan, like, passed out in the field, and he gets back up and is like, "What the fuck? This man had his heart ripped out. What's going on here?"
Well, after he'd had the hallucinations with, was it Eva or Evelyn?
Yeah, this is where he has the
Evelyn's
Evelyn
back!
hallucination. Yeah, for a little while. Kind of. He's just having visions of
His
her.
hallucination, because she's still existing within the memory imprinted upon the
because they are
Megamycete.
one of the
Yeah,
same.
and she reveals to him like that he's actually made of mold, and I like the way she does it because she's very condescending. Like, did you really think? How do you think you survived all this, you fucking idiot?
Don't be so fucking dense.
It's like, Jack killed the fuck out of you. You've been dead forever.
How do you think that hand reattached?
Yeah.
Dumbass.
Yeah, like don't you think it's weird, you fucking dweeb? Like all the things that we've been wanting to say to Ethan this whole time, like Evelyn just fucking unloads on him.
And I love that. It's
it's so
fucking
funny.
Love that moment.
Yeah, it is weird to think about in terms of these past two games having to be video games where you can have fail states, but if Ethan was made of mold the entire time, like, none of your deaths were actually deaths. You should have gotten back up.
You could argue that he does wake up just later on.
Oh yeah,
you
sure.
could find
Or
some
you
like
could also argue that he was, hurt to the point of crystallizing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So then we enter the actual finale with Ethan. The Duke saves you. There were some people on this council who doubted the Duke. Turns out he was a good guy all along. At least in terms of this game, maybe he's evil in a later game.
I still don't trust him.
That's fair. We
love
still don't
that
know much
dude.
about him.
He's a great character overall. I don't trust him. And even if it is
why was he there in that field picking you up? That's what I want to know.
I mean, if he's a villain for the next game, cool. I'm here for it. He got all the pieces he needed for his ceremony. He got the kado from the jar he needed. And
We
haven't really talked about that. Should we talk about
I wasn't even sure how to pronounce it. I was like a Kado, a Kado.
Okay, so my kid used to watch the show Caillou all the time.
Oh God,
I was
fucking
saying
Caillou.
it like that. I was like Caillou, like Caillou, and that made me hate it. I hated all that.
Yeah. The Kadu is basically just a piece of the Megamycete, right?
Yeah, it's like a
they
sample,
implanted.
a petri dish sample, relative scale. And so that's something I'm wondering is because he has a Kadu, right? In a jar that after you killed
the Duke?
Well, no, the Duke has it after you kill Moreau. He has the jar.
Yeah, there was one in the carriage as he's driving away.
Right, so he still has one. If you were to go with the assumption that it is still preserved, even though Mother Miranda is dead, like he holds the remnant of it.
Well, there's multiple ones that you can find once you go through Moreau's Reservoir, like because Moreau has one. Because Moreau talks about in his notes about experimenting with people and putting the Kadus in them, and then you see one in Mother Miranda's little study where you find all those notes.
I mean, there are a ton of them. Like all of the soul dots are powered by Kadus in their generator
shit
thing.
ton of them.
Right, but that's the thing is if you assume that they didn't survive the explosion by some chance, you could say like, well, the Duke has the last one that can
100%.
foster a new generation.
And he
so
puts it in Ethan at the end. But
yeah, it was kind of my assumption that when they kill the Megamycete at the end, that would end any of the mold that was left, and like that's why Ethan was so quick to sacrifice himself because he was gonna die even if he escaped from that.
That's why he died. I was confused when the first time around. I was confused why he died, but then again, Sarah's playthrough when I watched it, I made the connection, or someone else made the connection between the Metamycete dying and Ethan dying, and I was like, oh, that makes sense because one is connected to the other.
Right, and that's what I was figuring. I'm just curious if there's any possibility, but they could use that as a
But
useful
the Cadu
plot device.
wasn't the same thing, right? It was the Megamycete, but it was manipulated. They were
it was like a strain of it that they used for experiments. As far as it was like
100% straight from that, so it
right
could have potentially lived on.
Exactly. So there could be some sort of justification they come up with because of course they'll find one. For
listen, the amount of times they said Megamycete at the end of this game, that shit ain't going nowhere.
They can make it whatever they want. People will be like, okay, that's fine, whatever.
So that's,
am I shooting zombie things? Sounds great.
That's where I'm curious to see if they lean in that direction with the Duke, because that'd be fun to have him as like an orchestrator in some capacity, maybe.
So this is the last time you get to use the Duke store before this little.
Unless you're me and a dumbass, and
you
the
forget.
Duke store.
Yeah, and then there's this little ascent. It's kind of weird that they just put like 4 little enemies that are super easy to kill here for no reason. It's like, I feel like it would have been better to just have the slow ascent to Miranda without like, here's a little bit of combat that's kind of throwaway. I don't know if it's maybe it's like design wise to make you like re-pull out your guns and remember, oh yeah, this is where I have my guns on my shortcuts on Ethan.
Probably a little bit, and like, so there's something that Travis and I have talked about with the Souls games, in particular Sekiro, the final boss fight, and also Lady Butterfly. There's a fight where on your way to the boss arena, there's one enemy you can kill. You have to kill. You don't have to, but like, it's just a dude you can kill every time, and all that does, like, you get better and better and better at it. And it's just that like gratification of killing an enemy before going and like fighting a boss. And it's the same way with the final boss fight. There's someone you fight as part of the boss fight that then leads into the real boss fight. But it becomes to the point where it is so satisfying to just like, it's basically just a reward.
Yeah, killing something before constantly getting your ass kicked.
Exactly. It's just giving you some vindication and catharsis before getting to the real meat
I
of
do
it.
like that they at least preserve some mystery with the Duke, where Ethan's like, so what exactly are you? And he's like, well, I've shot. Even I don't know that. Yeah. So I appreciated that they didn't. I feel like that's something. That's one of those things that like maybe some of us want to know, like the merchant or the Duke, like what's up with them. But like ultimately, they're just a fucking mechanic for you to like get better at the game. Like it's not important, like who they are, or where they came from, or how they have all this money. Like it's not the point of the game.
I think with the Duke that is going to be a different story though, because he was such an integral part of the story. I mean,
he literally gives you the mission to like hunt down parts of your
and then
daughter.
he's the one that brings you to the finale. I mean, he is there through the entirety of the game.
Sure.
So I have a feeling he will be back.
Yeah, I mean, the main villain in RE9 is going to be the Merchant's Guild.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Cool,
That's what I'm saying.
That would be kind of cool, actually.
That the Duke is the orchestrator of all of this shit. He's the leader of the guild.
I mean, he does seem to know a lot of what's going on more than anybody else. And I mean,
exactly.
Lady D just lets him operate within her fucking house.
Yeah.
So he's gotta be powerful.
Yeah. So what kind of power does he hold over
idea.
Lady or Mother Miranda, for that fact? That
I would love
Mother
it
Miranda
if you
hasn't
did have to fight the Duke, that he just had all the weapons, like from RE8, and like that's how he fought you, or like. And then, like, I don't know, the true secret boss or whatever is the merchant from RE4, and he's got all the weapons from RE4. Or he's got, like, the fucking like, laser weapon that's, like, basically, like, Star Trek or something like that. I can't remember what it's called.
He's got the rocket launchers, the Magnum, all of them.
He's just got infinite rocket launchers, and E1 hits you over and over.
He's just got infinite rockets the whole fucking time.
Oh, my God.
Welcome!
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we see the Duke again, honestly. Well, I don't know. He's obviously a very offensive design, and he's not really well thought out.
I feel like they should maybe shift stuff up a little bit.
Yeah, they could. I mean, that they could say he was like a weird mold creature, and after you killed the Megamycetes, he became not a weird mold creature. Or they could just actually treat him like a character that's not just like, hey, fat stereotype. He can still be fat, just not
like-
fat stereotype,
Not
man.
at all either. They could just be like a disguise that he's wearing. I mean,
Yeah.
there's 1,000 things that they can
There's
do
so many
to-
ways for them to try to fix it, and so many opportunities for them to fall on their face. Who knows?
Oh, I mean, that is 100%
He's like,
gonna happen.
he would be like, "Oh, I tried this brand new diet. It's called letting the metamycete blow up."
All right, so now we have a
Keto
question.
instead of keto.
So
Anyway, sorry.
walking into the final boss fight, we have a question from Trey to the J from the Draft Bunks
Yeah.
Discord. Thank you
Hey,
for the
buddy.
question. Did you find the final boss fight disappointing at all, and was the music broken for you? Apparently the music broke
was
for
fine.
Trey to the J, unfortunately.
I would not be surprised that it impacted someone like this because the game can have some technical issues. I think he might be playing on PS4, so I wonder if that version is a little unstable or if you just had a bad glitch. And I definitely wouldn't be surprised to have that happen on PC. It didn't for me, and I wasn't disappointed by it. When I was playing it on hardcore, so it's implied that it's going to be pretty bullet spongy. It was very much campy final boss exposition dump and goofy as hell. So it was a little it didn't ruin it, but it did take me out of it just a hair at the fact that it was being so self-aware silly of like, I'm the bad guy and this is why I did it, I'm gonna kill you, constantly barking throughout the fight. It's like, okay, you could dial that down by like maybe 30% and you'd have like the perfect balance, but it was a little excessive.
Yeah,
I will say again, as I said earlier, I think well, first off, again, every time I ran past that frickin' Duke, so I made the fight a lot harder for me. So I definitely didn't find it disappointing because I died like 2 or 3 times in a row, and I only barely won the third time, and I just kept scrounging like for random ammo drops. But yeah, I mean, she had great attack patterns. Her voice acting was freaking phenomenal.
Performance was great.
I think her form and her attacks are really cool and interesting. Yeah, so I mean, it was a frustrating experience for me, but it turns out that was pretty much on me. So
yeah, I really, really like this boss fight. Actually, it's probably my favorite boss in the game.
Yeah, aesthetically, it's incredible.
Yeah, I love her
exactly.
look. Like when she latches onto you and then looks up and you see like the mold coming out of her eyes.
Yeah, it had a Pan's Labyrinth vibe almost. Like
Yeah.
some Guillermo del Toro horror shit. I loved it. Or like Hellboy 2.
For sure. But I like in this boss fight, it's a pretty small arena, but like you absolutely have the tools to still dodge every single one of her attacks. And she has more attacks than most Resident Evil bosses. Like she has her regular form, her spider form, her bird form, and then she does the weird like turning everything dark thing when she's back to her normal form again and kind of rotates back through. And then she also has like that big explosion thing where she raises Megamycete like tendrils around the side and you have to run behind those. There's a lot of attack patterns, and once you memorize them, like you can get a rhythm down in this fight where you don't get hit. And it is a pretty long fight, very bullet spongy, but if you dodge all the hits, like it feels really good. I like it.
It's just a fun rotation for sure. I think it just went up because of the difficulty I had. It was a little bit too long from that respect, but like I still think it was really, really cool, and had like a good payoff. I think, and just as far as like everything leading up to this fight.
Yeah. One thing. Well, real quick, Tyler, you have any thoughts on this boss? You haven't talked to?
Yeah, I mean, you all nailed it on the head. Everything that you said, I reciprocate. It was fun. It was a decent time. It wasn't very difficult for me. I got through it the first try. It took me. I mean, it was a very bullet sponge fight. It was maybe roughly 10-minute fight, but everything about it flowed perfectly well. I think it was a great culmination of the game, and the way, because I did stream this on my personal Twitch account. The ending of the Heisenberg fight leading up to this, and I just feel like the whole lead up from the Heisenberg fight to this, it flowed so well and seamlessly together, and it's roughly about an hour. Obviously, if you speedrun it, it's going to be faster than that, but for me, in the stream, it was about an hour to get...
That tracks to about my time through it.
Yeah, to the Heisenberg fight, all the way through the finale of the game. And I think it stays as long as it needs to stay.
and you get the information that you want, and you get a satisfying conclusion at the end of it. So it does exactly what I want a finale boss fight to do.
Yeah, and blocking's very useful. That was what I was going to say too.
Blocking
is so damn helpful.
I
never blocked once in this whole game.
Let me tell you,
standard. And I don't think, and this is my problem in RE7 too. Like I did block a couple times in that one, but like I never associate blocking with Resident Evil, and I don't think that's ever going to happen with my brain because it's been 2 games now, and like I just always forget that blocking is even a thing.
That's a difficulty thing. I think is the difficulty setting that it sets to is like you don't really need to.
Yeah,
you absolutely need to block all the time
on hardcore,
or and
Village of Shadows.
Yeah, Village of Shadows especially, but especially that upgrade that you get where it significantly reduces the damage you take when guarding.
Yeah,
that shit'll keep you alive throughout like this entire fight. That's pretty much what it seemed like it was for, was this fight, because it saved my ass a lot.
Yeah, I used the blocking a lot in the game. I only died twice in the game because I was playing on standard and using the block. The block is not essential for playing on standard, I don't think, but it definitely will keep you alive. And like you were saying,
for save kit.
Yeah, the biggest thing with, I don't know if it's in hardcore, but definitely in Village of Shadows, is like the enemies not only deal a ton more damage to you, but they are also way, 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 way faster. So much faster, like, and aggressive.
They're more aggressive, for sure.
Yeah.
They're absolutely more aggressive.
They will jump on you instantly, and getting a block off and then pushing L1 again to kick them away can give you the space you need to fight.
Yeah, and it was invaluable for this fight.
Yeah.
And one of the things I want to say about this fight, too, before we go any further, is I really found the thing of like blowing up the metamycete bombs like above her head like oddly satisfying before she like threw those at you, and how they kind of glowed and like slowly would explode and blowing those up in her face and like being like denying her that satisfaction of throwing that shit at me was great. Love that.
It's a good counter.
Yeah. The one thing that's I'm kind of like I don't love at the very end of this fight is like you go into a mode where you're not using ammo anymore, but like she's still hitting you, and you're supposed to just shoot her until she eventually goes away. I don't know. I don't love that part of the fight. I haven't died at it yet, but I feel like if I ever die at that part of the fight, I'm gonna be incredibly frustrated that I did all the hard stuff, but then I just didn't land enough headshots in this little limited time end of the fight thing.
We'll see how generous that time window is on Village of Shadows.
Yeah.
Wasn't too bad on hardcore, but like I think I had some Magnum rounds and I just dumped them in that spot. It was like, all right, now's the time more than anything else. Unload max power.
Yeah. And then we have a question from one Crypto Zookeeper.
Hey, buddy.
What up, fellow Chris? Well, I'm not sure I'd say the individual boss fights are super memorable in this game. I do think the individual boss characters are all well-defined and fun on their own. I, somewhat jokingly, think a good marker of a well-defined character is if by the end of the game, you can tell what kind of bands those characters likely listened to in high school or college. So I asked the committee, what bands do you think the main villains, or even Ethan, listened to in college? Personally, I think Donna is a big Linkin Park stan. Heisenberg likely is into Rammstein or some weird heavy shit, and Ethan is a total Dave Matthews Band fanboy.
Oh my god.
Thank you, Crypto.
Yeah, thank you. That's an excellent question. Lady D listens to The Cure. Donna listens to Chopin. Nothing but classical music while she's knitting and embroidering and making her costumes for her dolls. Heisenberg, I think that kind of nails it on the head perfectly, is Rammstein. That they're like, there's some industrial metal. Obviously, or is he the kind of person that really loves Katy Perry? This is a contrast, like
covering.
Yeah, he's just like, he's kind of brooding it, but he's like, "Hey man, those are good bops. I'm here for it."
She's got some good songs.
Yeah, she does. Fireworks and come on.
I think they all listen to Now That's What I Call Draft Punks Volume 1.
Specifically Greg's rendition.
Yes, exactly.
I wanna go one by one with this. All right. So Ethan definitely listens to some like Dave Matthews, I agree, or like some the guy who sings the Curious George song. I can't remember his name. Jack Johnson. Absolutely listens to Jack Johnson. Listens to like that. If he does go anywhere near like rock, it's folk rock, like Mumford and Sons or some shit. That's like when Ethan's being edgy, maybe.
He's
Lady
being
D,
emotional.
Lady
He's being edgy. He listens to Mumford and Sons.
He really has to get those hays out.
I'm just trying to feel something today. Turn on the mic.
Lady D listens to like old school, like fucking My Chem, and thinks like later My Chem is just kind of overrated. And like
Little
especially
goth
like Vampires Will Never Hurt You. She probably ironically listens to that song.
Mm-hmm.
And then Moreau definitely listens to like the most self-hating crap you could ever find, like the stuff you should not be. Yeah.
So he listens to like Nine Inch Nails.
Yes.
Fear Factory.
Absolutely.
Fear
like
Factory.
yeah. Moreau is like listening to some, I don't know, aquatic themed self-hating music. I don't know what that would be though. And then yeah, Heisenberg definitely listens to some Rammstein or Nine Inch Nails or industry metal, maybe type negative type zero or whatever the hell that band is.
Static X.
Yeah, Static X. And then Mother Miranda absolutely on that Cure shit or like some other goth bands. I don't
Morrissey.
know. Morrissey, yeah, she absolutely listens to Morrissey. She's an
Smiths.
asshole.
She was all about the Smiths.
She's all about the Smiths. So I think that's it. Yeah.
Excellent. What does Chris listen to?
Country.
Oh,
Country. Absolutely.
absolutely country. That man is listening to Garth Brooks, and he's listening to nothing else on the car ride over.
Chris Gaines.
He's Florida, Georgia, what line or whatever the fuck blasted out of that car. Yeehaw, everybody. It's a
all
great
right.
question.
Great question.
Mia listens to. What does Mia listen to? Mia doesn't listen to music.
Yeah,
She's
Mia's
one of
too
those.
good for it.
No, Mia's awful. She's the villain.
Lies with the baby? What are you talking about?
Mia's like responsible for supervising Evelyn.
Yeah, she's
Like,
the
she's
bioterrorist that started.
She's a
Seven
bad
anyways.
person.
She, what do we think Rose listens to? I know we don't know a ton about Rose, but like, I don't know.
Oh, she just listens to podcasts.
She
Basically,
listens
the
to like
Spelunkers
almost exclusively
game
NPR.
exploration.
Yes.
Tyler, what did you say?
I said she specifically listens to Spelunkers, a game exploration podcast.
Yeah.
But there, I would love it if like just in the special end credit scene is just her like bringing out her fucking phone and she listens to Spelunkers. That's the secret.
It all goes back.
Anyways, thank you so much for the question, Crypto.
Yeah, that's an excellent question.
So after the Miranda boss fights, there's the great final scene of like
Did you guys
Chris.
get Mitch's question?
What's that?
Did you get Mitch's question?
Yeah, I've got all the questions in here. We're gonna talk about them. So yeah, Ethan and Chris Chris is kind of like carrying Ethan because I think his hand disappears at this point, right after the Miranda boss fight.
It doesn't disappear. It becomes like useless.
The crystal
right?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like holding it like a bum hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, the implication is that like what's happened to him is what you've done to all the bosses, where you just hit them enough that they crystallize, and he's starting to crystallize here.
Mm-hmm.
As him and Chris are leaving, and then Chris, has the detonator for the bomb or whatever, but Ethan takes it from him and gives him the baby and tells him to take care of her.
Yeah,
And
fuck me up, dude.
Yeah, he sacrifices himself. It's a great scene, very well shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They still never show his face.
Yeah,
They go to such lengths to hide this
Love
man's
it
face.
so much.
Like he's in fucking protective services or some shit.
even in the concept art, his face is
I
blacked
know,
out. There's
I
like shadows
know.
over his face. It's so silly.
Great. It's so dumb.
It's such a commitment to even Doom. John. I can't remember his name, but even the folks at Doom didn't do this for Doomslayer. I mean, I know he's wearing the helmet, but like I think they're like
In Eternal, they're
all
much
know
more
that we are
like
all Ethan Winters at this point.
Yeah.
You are Ethan Winters, and you are Ethan Winters.
he's the surrogate, but it's just so funny that they refuse to show his face.
Yeah, your mic has gotten very quiet again, Tyler. But
You're quiet.
I am quiet. I like that they're specifically very committed to it in this game, but you see his face in Resident Evil 7, like very briefly when you're playing as Mia. You see him like getting
Right.
pulled back by the molds, and you see his face. And we've seen his face before, even without like
Just-
people are hacking the game to get his face and stuff. But even without that,
just-
we've seen it. They're just leading
Yep.
into the meme.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's great. So there's a lot of stuff that happens in this last plane scene.
Shit.
What's up?
What?
Shit.
Sorry.
Okay.
Go on.
Pressing my mic in the middle of this. I was hoping it would be muted.
Okay. So there's a lot of stuff in this like last scene on the plane with like the BSAA when they sent agents in during Chris's scene. It turns out that agent is actually like a bioweapon, and apparently basically the BSAA and Umbrella have swapped places. The BSAA is very much what Umbrella used to be, where they're using bioweapons to fight bioweapons and try to get samples of other bioweapons and stuff. Presumably that's why that BSAA agent was actually there, was to get
Yep.
the mold. So I definitely want to know more about that, and this is where I see DLC for this game going, is like playing as Chris and maybe even the Wolf Squad. I'd love like a co-op thing, playing as the Wolf Squad and
That'd
Chris.
be fun.
Like taking on the BSAA, because in the epilogue that we get to right after this, they show Rose as an adult, and she references that she does have like crazy mold powers. So like I assume that's where they're going for Resident Evil 9. So I would hope with DLC they do something with this BSAA thing, because presumably something has been done about that in the like 15 years or whatever that Rose has been growing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know, Dory, you wanted to talk about the post-credits scene.
Yeah, the post-credit scene. So I thought this was really cool. I didn't expect. So I mean, we're introduced to this, girl on a bus, and I don't know what the conversation about the moon, like being flown to the moon. Like I don't know. I feel like Capcom is saying something there, but I don't know what exactly. Maybe it's just the power of stories, or the power of telling children various stories, like because at the beginning Rose is being told that story about the village. So maybe that's just supposed to be a callback. I don't know, but anyway, she goes to this graveyard, and then it's revealed, that it's Rose, which you kind of figure. She looks a lot like Mia, just with kind of different hair and a bit younger, maybe a little shorter. But yeah, I mean, she fucking manhandles that, or I don't know, girl handles that. The fucking government agent or whatever, who's like, calling
The
her
suit.
Evelyn. Yeah, the suit, being a fucking dick. And basically calling her Evelyn and stuff, and she just like picks the man up by his throat and puts it up against the helicopter. And they even say like, we've got line of sight on her, which is like
that's
real
that
fucked
part
up.
was like, oh my god, wow.
Yeah.
She is an asset to them.
Yeah.
So I think we're definitely going to get into that relationship between her and the whatever government she's helping. I don't remember if I had anything specific to say about the post credits, just that it was cool. If you didn't know already, some people kind of hacked the game and saw that Ethan was the person kind of standing by the road, but the likelihood that that's actually Ethan and not just a standing character model, is pretty low. I think either way, at best, it's like a memory of Ethan through the Megamycete, or
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, or it's just sentimental, just nice imagery. I sincerely doubt.
Oh yeah,
they're
I don't
bringing
think
Ethan
that's
back.
actually concrete in any manifestation, other than the fact that he was a representation of like the memory of Ethan, and she could like being tied to the Metamycete, like he is contained within the memory of it to some extent, so he's always like with her.
Yeah.
Almost like they are a legion or something. To
some extent, yeah.
Yeah.
But like nothing beyond that.
Especially when they go out of their way, like after that end of credit scene, they have that big flash up of the father's story is done.
Yeah.
I don't think they're bringing Ethan back.
Maybe
It's
beyond,
not
like
similar.
the only thing I could see him being in the future game is like an echo or a memory that like serves as a conversation point for the character to like reflect and have internal monologue. That's the only thing I could see him actually being in any other way.
Yeah, they in that end of credit scene, like they stay focused on that car as it's driving away for such a long time. I thought for sure it was gonna explode or something, or she was gonna like go all Mega Mycete on it or some shit. But it just stays on that car for a very, very long time without reason. We also skipped over during the credits. Well, I guess it's right before the credits, right? They show the full Book of Shadows,
Yeah.
which is cool. Which it is literally, I mean, as we suspected from the beginning, it is a reflection of the story in the actual game.
Yeah.
It was
the
cute.
bat,
It was,
the bat is Lady D. The fish is obviously Moreau. The mechanized horse is Heisenberg. Who am I missing? Oh,
The Reaper.
That was the Grim Reaper.
that was the Grim Reaper.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. I thought the mechanized horse. Doesn't that make sense? That makes
That's
more sense.
Heisenberg.
That's Heisenberg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I.
That's what you said.
Anyway. Oh, okay. And then the Grim Reaper is
Donna.
Donna, right?
Yep.
Donna, yeah.
Yeah. You're on it. Don't let them
and-
tell you otherwise. You're on it.
That's literally
We were just
what I'm saying.
assisting.
Yeah.
No, I just got confused. But anyway, it's not important.
I
It
was
was really
confused
cool.
by your confusion then.
Yes, it was a great little graphic to see again. I think by this point it was 3 a.m. and Seb was still talking to me, I was like, dude, are you gonna go to sleep? Am I keeping you up? He's like, nah, I'm playing Mass Effect anyway, to lead back to Tyler. Yeah, so props to Seb for sticking it out with me throughout the rest of that game. But yeah, really good.
Yeah. There's also
I don't know if you made that clear. It's a little clarifying.
This game's
comment
great.
there.
They also show you, like, during the credits, the history of the town itself, which you had already more or less learned, like the Spanish flu or Spanish plague or whatever hit the city and killed a bunch of people, and that's what caused Miranda to find the Mega Mycete, which then they started, like, abducting people and they started turning into lichens and stuff from being experimented on with the Cadu. So
How long ago did they start developing RE8? Was it like a couple years ago, or?
I want to say they said it took them 5 years or something, but that doesn't seem right because, well, maybe they started development while RE7 was still on its way out.
Yeah, it had to have been in pre-production before.
Yeah, so
RE7 was out the door.
5 years wouldn't be that surprising.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about like the Spanish flu and COVID, and I was also thinking about, like, I think even somebody says like put your mask on at some point. There's like a line.
Yeah,
about that.
I don't think it has anything to do with that.
I don't think so either. It's just the way my brain works with associations.
Well, for sure, it also probably doesn't help because the entire series has been about viral outbreaks.
Yeah,
For sure.
And
for
so
sure.
it's just kind of
I
topical
mean,
on it.
Like literally when RE3 Make came out, that was the beginning of COVID, and one of the first scenes is like a viral outbreak has struck in this town.
Yeah,
and
it was
I'm
like
yeah, it was hard to watch. It's like a scene that would be so nothing normally.
Inauspicious,
It suddenly becomes
Yeah.
like, oh my god, this is bad.
and obviously no blame towards
Yeah.
Capcom. They couldn't have fucking known.
They didn't
but
create
yeah.
the outbreak.
Or
Yeah.
did
We
they?
don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
But yeah, it definitely is just, it hits different when you live through one. You're like, that's a lot more terrifying.
Yep.
That hits a lot harder.
Yep. So we've got a couple questions here from Mitch Bob from the Discord. Did any of you guys catch the leaks for this game back in December and January?
Nope.
Me neither.
Nope. I
thankfully.
dodged them.
Nope.
I'm
He
pretty
says,
good about dodging.
I
those
saw
ones.
one trailer and that was it.
Yeah, I dodged them, and I also dodged people who I know look at spoilers, and because somebody in my life saw the spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2 and thought they were being very sneaky in the way they talked about it, and were not sneaky.
I hate that
Always.
shit, man. When they're like, "I'm not spoiling anything.
Who
I'm
was it
just
called
saying."
out?
It's this you're literally telling me by what you're not telling me. And
Yeah.
you're dancing around like,
Mhm. Yeah.
come on.
So I avoided the people who I knew the spoilers also.
The only thing I ever got spoiled was when I was talking with Seb and he accidentally said, "Oh, are you still playing as Ethan?" And I was like, "What do you mean still playing as Ethan?"
Yeah,
He's like,
that's-
"Oh, no, I didn't say
that's the
anything."
Interesting
Worst.
choice of words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking worst when somebody says something like that.
Yeah, it's okay. I knew it was an accident, and he
Oh,
didn't
for
know
sure.
exactly where I
For
was.
sure.
So
Yeah, that was like the other day, Tyler, you were talking about you being near the end of the game, near the end of the 4th area, and I had to be like, what's the 4th area? Because I didn't want to tell you the stronghold wasn't the
Yeah.
4th area if you were still there.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
you knew what you were
Yeah, I
talking
knew.
about anyway, so.
Yeah.
We're on the same page there, bro.
Yeah. He says he personally got spoiled on the Lady D boss cutscene with the dagger, which doesn't sound like a too terrible
I got spoiled
spoiler
on
to
that too because there was this tweet. I think we talked about this last video, so I'll breeze through this. But somebody was like, "Oh, do you find Lady D attractive now?" And of course, everyone was in the comments was like, "Yeah, you fool!" Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things with when I got onto Twitter right after Resident Evil released, I had to actually mute anything that was related to it because
Smart.
I saw a lot of different, games journalism outlets that were talking about Resident Evil, and they are just the worst at fucking spoiling things anymore. It's just like the same things that were just said about like talking about something without talking about it. It happens. So
I look at
fucking
scores.
much.
I look at scores, and then I leave those reviews alone. Generally speaking, I mean, sometimes I'll check out an IGN or a GI review, but like, I'll often just look at Metacritic scores or scores in general, and then
because you can't trust that. Just like they can't talk about one specific thing without hinting at something. It's fucking impossible anymore, and it sucks.
Yeah. I will say with Resident Evil 8 for like reviews, it would be very hard to talk around everything that's a spoiler in this game because it's a game of moments. But like to just like tweet stuff out, I mean, I just stay off Twitter if I'm excited about a game.
Just
it's so
straight
hard
up tweeting about it, and like the game has been out for a fucking day, y'all. Like, come on, come on.
But the reasoning is like, oh, I've had it for like 2 weeks. It's like, cool. Yeah. You've been sitting with it for a while, maybe.
Yeah.
No one else has been. Like
just because you've been given clearance to talk about it all you want,
yeah, there are areas that people you can talk to with that in some respects, but I hear you, and it can be frustrating. I mean, like the only as far as the Lady D thing goes, I didn't see anything, but it seemed like a logical conclusion. Like I've played Resident Evil games before. Oftentimes, seemingly normal human archetype things will turn into grotesque monstrosities that are trying to kill me. That's not a shock to me. I figured I could read the room on how Resident Evil games go, so I figured that was going to be something, but I didn't have that spoiled for me. And really, I heard whispers of like, oh, there was some really terrifying stuff. There was one moment in particular that, which I know people are now like with context referring to like House B and specifically the baby. But that was the extent of it for the most part. But I also like don't care too much if I'm spoiled on some stuff. It just, if anything, like gives me, it's kind of a dramatic irony in some instances. Like, okay, so this part was ruined for me, but now how do they justify it? Sometimes when you're really trying,
I usually tend to lean if something gets spoiled. I'm like, okay, so since I know this is going to happen, when is it going to happen, and what's going to lead into this happening? So it's
might as well accept what I have.
It's nice to compartmentalize that and be like, okay, but what's going to lead into this?
Exactly.
How are they going to get to that moment?
I only really listen mostly to two like regular gaming podcasts every single week, and that's the GI Show and the MinMax Show. And I'll say the MinMax Show did a great job of talking around it. Surreal did a great job.
Pretty good about that.
Yeah,
they're pretty good about talking around stuff without talking around stuff to hint it.
And the GI Show unfortunately was very spoiler ridden in their chat about it.
I only listened to the GI review, and then I looked at the IGN review, and then I looked at some scores, and I was like, "Yep, okay, this looks great," and then that was it.
Yeah. So the thing I mentioned at the very beginning that I had something spoiled from the GI Show that I wish I hadn't. They talked about doll horror, which I did not know was a part of this game, and I didn't want to know beforehand was part of this game. I wanted to run into that naturally. Obviously, that would be much creepier. Anyways, Mitch Bob also says the much worse spoiler he got is a rough version of Ethan's first death. Which would be a much bigger spoiler for sure. Yeah. But if you didn't know that he came back, then the game subverted his expectations in that way, which would be cool too. And then he says, I later found out in the leak that the carriage scene in the Duke was entirely different and actually involved Ethan using his wedding ring to open a near identical case found in RE7 that gave him the cure antivirus vaccine. Must be from a cut, storyline, or conclusion. Without having seen this leak, I don't know what those words mean. But thank you, Mitch. I'm not sure what the case is. Or I know there's a different scene of the Duke's entrance where like the horses are running wild on the carriage when he's when he runs up to you in front of Lady D's castle, instead of him just kind of being sitting there. That's in the concept art. They talk about that. So that's probably what he's talking about with the Duke entrance, but I'm not sure what the case thing is.
Well, the case would be a replica of the one from 7, right? That he gives to Mia, that you choose who gets it. Right?
Yeah. I don't know.
But it seems like
I don't know.
If that's the case,
without seeing what the leaks were, it's hard to.
Yeah, that would have to have been
have
something that was
context for that.
completely cut from the game.
Yeah, it's one of those director's cut type things or cuts,
Yeah.
or editing room floor things that you don't know if it'll ever have any impact on anything.
Yeah.
Could. Yeah, never know.
Thank you for that question, Mitch. But then he also asks, what would your guys' thoughts be if the RE4 remake that has been heavily rumored, basically confirmed at this point, had a similar tone to this game? I would love
If I
it.
played RE4, I'd be all over it though.
I think this game already has a pretty similar, what was the word, tone to RE4 anyways, so...
Yeah, they're definitely. It's definitely showing its inspiration there. So then seeing the modernizations, what does that mean for Resident Evil 4 remake? Like beyond just tone, like part of it's like, well, there's the VR thing, which is cool, but that's not quite the same. But I don't know that you could do it because it. I mean, maybe I'd love to see Capcom, overcome that challenge, but it is such a different game.
Yeah.
It is like comparatively to like RE1 through 3, it is such a different game, and I don't know what you do.
Yeah, I could see, like, actually, like, I think I'm on board for this probably being the case at this point, because, like, with the RE2 make and the RE3 make, they made it into an RE4 style game, which made them feel dramatically different from their original counterparts. I could totally see them making the RE4 remake a first-person game to make it feel dramatically different from RE4.
Right, and that's what the vibe kind of is with the VR
one,
version. Yeah. And so you have to wonder, are they then going to do, like, with RE Engine, do RE4, but that kind of...
that sounds fucking incredible.
I would love that so much.
It could be really cool. I'd totally play it.
Or anything, but that sounds so fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it would be too tough, mostly because to have it similar genres or tones, because I mean, again, mechanically and just thematically, RE8 takes a lot from RE4, but also there's just a lot of self-aware action flick, gleefully like ridiculous bonkers stuff in both of these games that I feel like makes them also like very connected too. So I think this would be an easy transfer, or at least in my mind.
Well, right, but more of my point is that seems like it would just be repeating what RE8 just did.
Kind of,
and so then it's just rehashing what they were trying to take, which was old. And so if they're doing basically RE8 in RE4, you're just doing the exact same thing, and then at that point, like, it becomes not unnecessary, but it just seems like it is going back to the well a few too many times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What if they go full circle and they just make it a fixed camera game?
I mean, that'd be a fun way to subvert expectations for sure.
That would be bizarre, but I would like it. All right.
Yeah, either way, whatever they do, I'm curious to see what they do.
Oh yeah, I will play it 100%. I am. One thing I'm concerned about with that remake, regardless of which way they go, but especially if they decide to go first person, because it seems like RE7 and RE8 were very expensive and long productions. They cut a lot of stuff out of Resident Evil 3 going to Resident Evil 3 remake, and RE4 is way longer than RE3 to begin with. So I worry about stuff that they would have to cut there.
I mean, I really think they should.
they could cut some of that out.
I think it suffers from some pacing in the back half and could be improved.
That said, there are a lot of people that are very attached to that game because they played it in their childhood.
I completely. They're purists, and I get it.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I know.
I don't really feel like that. I love that the game is so long, and I hope they don't cut anything. But if they do, I understand. Yeah, I get that. But I also recognize that RE4 is one of my favorite games of all time. I've played it multiple times. I played it when I was a kid. I have very fond memories of playing it with a friend who's no longer here. So I've got a lot of nostalgia of red rose tinted glasses on it.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean the good news is no matter what they do with the remake, even if it doesn't like match up to your expectations or whatever, you can still play that original and it still holds up.
On everything.
Yes,
On everything. Everything.
Everything.
it's even coming to VR, which I want to check that out for sure when it comes.
That seems super funny and cool.
So upon finishing the game, this is a question from Crypto Zookeeper. Upon finishing the game, did you happen to take a look at the challenges list? And if so, do any of them excite you? I'm coming up on my 3rd run, and I'm excited to try to finish the game in under 3 hours, as well as do a knife-only run, which I know Crypto has done both of those things since writing in that question. Congratulations, Crypto. Why not both? On casual, it should be possible. That being said, getting triple S rank on all the Mercenaries maps might be past my upper limit. I will say you only have to get S rank for the challenges and trophies. Thank goodness. Not triple S.
Yeah, I didn't look at any of the challenges. I unlocked Mercenary. I unlocked some concept art of a few different characters, and then I kind of put that menu away, and I was like, yeah, I'll come back to this. And then I did Mercenaries for like 30 minutes, and I was like, that was okay. And then I haven't come back to it since as the whole game. So.
Yep,
Yeah.
same. As soon as I beat it, I haven't played again. I've been playing Mass Effect.
That's fair. Mass Effect's great.
I can't.
It's your first
stop
time.
playing it. I'm sorry.
Especially your first time through the series. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to put down. I love this challenge system. It was the best thing they did in RE3 Remake, and I'm glad they kept it here. I hope they keep it in every game that they make going forward, because it makes the games even more replayable. And for me, Resident Evil games are already ridiculously replayable. One of the most replayable series out there.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I've completed like 90% of the challenges at this point, and I absolutely adore this game.
Yeah, I absolutely. So as soon as I completed the game, fired up the challenge menu and wanted to go through and see what ones. Also, part of what I love about the challenge menu is it shows you the progress on each thing, like X out of X for like Lycans killed with a pistol or a shotgun, or
Yes.
each of those things is numerically represented, and I really appreciate that. The challenges are really fun, and what I wish that more like achievements and trophies were like in game and reflected as a reward for the game. And by doing those challenges, it has like impact on your ability to play the game a different way. One, it encourages you to play it differently, and two, by doing so, and you are rewarded for like, okay, now your Magnum has unlimited bullets.
Yes.
Awesome.
It's
Fantastic.
I love like the infinite ammo stuff, because like especially, I mean, this game's hardest difficulties are much more approachable than any of the other Resident Evils, because you can take those infinite ammo guns in. The only thing that I would say is not approachable are those really hard Mercenary 5 through 8 challenges.
Yeah, and that's a whole another thing entirely for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to go and do all these challenges. I want to try the game with knife only on casual. I think that would be a blast.
Yep, that's my next run coming up pretty soon. In fact, I might play a little more Mercenaries, because I finally got all the S ranks today. But when I got the S rank on Factory 2, I managed to get triple S, because I finally got a perfect combo in the first area.
Nice.
So now that one has double S or higher, I kind of want to go back and get double S on the few I'm missing it on, so that I can buy. There's a weapon you can buy that is a lightsaber, literally.
Yeah.
That you can take through the game.
I love that shit.
And that would be great for my knife run.
Yeah, right. And like, yeah, the only heal no more than 4 times. What was the other one that seemed interesting? Don't craft anything. Stuff like that seems like it would be fun.
Yeah, I got a few of those done doing casual runs. I've finished the game 3 times now, but I've not played on hardcore or Village Shadows. Those are 2 of the big ones I'm missing. The only ones I can't see myself bothering with are, there's a few that are like get a very specific amount of money, like get 54,321.
One I think is tied to like the Dead Rising population count achievement that it had, like the 52,128 or whatever. The zombies you had to kill in Dead Rising for that one.
Yeah, and then there's one that's like either get 777, 7777, whatever. It's the lucky numbers.
Those are just like tedious and pointless to me, so I won't engage with those.
It's just like I have to manipulate my money to get it to those numbers, and it's annoying. Those ones are annoying, and specifically the 777 one has a trophy tied to it, so I have to figure out how I'm gonna do that one. But
that is fun for me.
All the other ones I adore. So there's a lot of like bonus stuff you unlock in here. Did you guys watch any of the like developer commentary stuff.
No,
like behind the
not
scenes
yet.
stuff they
I
unlocked.
I want to.
It's really good. There's a lot. They show you a lot of gray box stuff, which developers rarely do, and I love seeing gray box of environments.
Yeah,
Like they made this so
DMC5 had
beautiful.
that. And that,
What,
did
Jay?
you have you watched the Devil May Cry 5?
Oh yeah, they have like the
where they
previs.
show like the skits where they were prepping
Yes,
it for
yes.
like, oh, they're so good.
They have a little bit of that previs in here, and as well as mocap. But like, yeah, there's specifically. You remember the scene where Demetrius like you cuts your hand and tastes your blood.
Mhm.
They have
we remember.
Yeah, they have a previs of that, and it's just like two old Asian dudes doing the previs. It's so funny. And then there's a lot of mocap stuff. The scene where Ethan wakes up and is on trial, and like Angie's doing a little dance in front of him. It is
Oh,
hilarious
right,
to watch that actress do that little dance there and run back to her seat.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I definitely recommend watching those. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about Mercenaries. I know Doreen and Tyler, you guys haven't played too much. Rob, how much have you played of Mercenaries?
2 levels. 2 levels
Sweet.
worth. Yeah.
Yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know, it's like an arcade mode. It's very roguelike-y. You grab little power-ups, and you get a choice of 3 power-ups that last for that run. But once you die, it's over, you restart. But it's not like any of the levels are very, very long. Like, it's maybe 15 minutes to get through all the areas of the longest one.
Yeah, it's a small slice of area, and like enemies, like Resident Evil 4 had it too. And I loved it in RE4.
Yeah, this is more similar to what they call the raid mode in RE Revelations 2, which like had these like environments that you ran through, and that was co-op too. God, that game is also very good. Specifically, that mode is very, very good. But like you're running through an environment and enemies are spawning, and you're like trying to keep your combo counter going. The combo counter is a thing in Mercenaries as well, but it's more of like you're kind of like planted in an arena, and you just last for as long as you possibly can, and eventually you fail, and then that's your score. There's no like, I've killed the 30 enemies that are here, and now I move to the next area.
Yeah, like an endless mode.
Yeah, it's more endless. That's a good way of putting it, for sure. So 5 through 8 are very, very hard, I will say. Like there are strategies out there that people have been using that I don't recommend using the strategy, but people say it's the easiest way to do it, where you buy the grenade launcher, you sell your pistol, you sell all your pistol ammo, which I should say my biggest complaint with this mode is if you are not using the pistol, you want to sell all your pistol ammo to get the money, and it takes a very long time because you can't just go backwards one and say, oh, now I'm at 250, sell all that. You have to tick forward from 0 up to 250, and it takes like 5 seconds every single time, and then you die, and it's like, well, I got to do that again. That sucks. But the strategy that I was trying to use for a while that a lot of people use is to buy the grenade launcher, buy a bunch of flashbang grenades because they're very, very cheap, and you can buy a shitload of them, and then you keep going to the blue orbs and trying to get a specific skill called Masamune that makes your knives deal a ton of damage, and then you just keep blinding enemies and slashing them, and it's supposed to be the easiest way to do it. I did not enjoy it specifically because it is RNG heavy. You have to run to the blue orb every time and hope that you got the right thing, and if not, you restart. You have to resell all that pistol ammo and stuff. Yeah, it's a pain.
It's good. It's good that info's out there if you want to cheese and just get it done. But yeah, that doesn't seem like that would actually be that fun.
Yeah, that's also where I discovered that the guys with the armor on their head and their arms are immune to flashbangs, which just they can still see you. They run at you. They like, why are they immune to flashbangs? I was very annoyed and angry. And like I said, getting SS rank and all this gets you the LZ answer, it's called, which is just a lightsaber, and it even has like a dual-sided like Darth Maul lightsaber mode that you can go into. It's so cool.
All right.
I want it.
All right. That sounds cool.
Yeah. Let's see. You guys have any? Did you guys like have any new observations from new playthroughs or Village of Shadows mode or anything from the gallery you want to talk about? I have a ton of notes here, but I don't want to just go on and on forever. If you guys have anything to say.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't replayed it. I spent about 30 minutes on Mercenaries, and it just didn't really grab me. It was it was fine. I didn't think it was bad, but I don't know. I felt like always the big draw to me for Mercenaries was being able to play like a lot of different characters with a lot of different weapons, and like I don't know if that's the thing you can do here, but it didn't seem like you could play as anyone besides Ethan, and it only seemed like you get the ammo or the weapons that the Duke had. I mean, again, I only played 30 minutes. It could be totally wrong, but that was just my impression of it. So it just didn't grab me, and I didn't think much of it. And I've been focusing, similar to Tyler, on Mass Effect for the min-max deepest dive. So, yeah,
that's fair. If you're not into I think if you're not into trying to find the correct route through the area and like managing, you're kind of like managing timers, because the combos is what gets you the most points in this game. Like comboing, basically you have to kill enemies within a certain time limit of each other to keep the combo going. If you're not interested in finding those routes, I don't think Mercenaries is going to be very fun for you, because like the only level I didn't love from Mercenaries is Factory 2, and I had to look up a route for like how to do that because I could not get the route down myself, and that was a very frustrating experience, because then I'm just trying to emulate what somebody else has already done. It's not particularly fun.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for this last bit here, because I have nothing to add. As soon as I beat it, I was like,
totally fair.
done.
Yeah, that's fine. That's how a lot of people experience the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also really don't have a ton to say about post-game stuff. We can all give it a score if we wanted to. I think that's
Yes, we are going to give it a score real quick. Some of the stuff I found in the gallery I do want to talk about real quick. Just some interesting tidbits they have in there. Moreau's like humpback thing is actually his brain that has grown onto his back, which I found very weird and interesting.
He's gross.
He is
How
gross.
dare you? Don't talk about
he
him
is
that way.
gross though. Come on, Rob.
There we
Have
go,
you
I
looked
know.
at him?
Just constantly vomiting all over the place.
You're not helping his complex.
Mm-hmm.
He knows.
I know he knows. He's reminded by you.
You gonna stuff him in a locker, Tyler? Come
That's
on.
why I ended his existence.
Jesus. Originally, Sturm, the guy with the propeller for a head, was supposed to be Heisenberg's father, that he turned into that, but they got rid of that lore, and Heisenberg was apparently a twin. There were two of them that you fought at the end,
Probably
just stuff they scrapped.
would just adds a lot more.
Yeah.
I like the twin thing. It just anytime there's like two enemies, I always like that.
Mm-hmm. The sacred knife that you use on Lady Demetrisk, apparently a man used it before to try to kill Demetrisk and failed, and that's the man that is in that coffin that you take the knife from. She kept him there with his knife for some reason. You'd think as soon as Ethan is like running around the castle, she'd be like, oh shit, let me go grab that knife and put it somewhere else. But whatever.
She has like those eyes, like her eyes go wide, like she left the oven on or some shit like that. Oh shit!
What's your weakness?
Some of the stuff is really fascinating. Originally, there in it, like the first draft of Village, there were sections in the past and modern. Like you were playing through the village as it was falling apart, but then going back to modern as Ethan,
I would have loved that.
which would have been interesting. I could see them still doing that as DLC, like the found footage stuff they did for
I would love
RE7.
that. That'd be so good.
Ada was originally in this game. Ada Wong helping. Yeah, I'm glad she was not. I don't like her very much.
Too. I don't have a problem with her.
She's just involved in everything for no real reason. Like
She
she was
doesn't need
this,
to be in every heckin' game.
Exactly.
Like, she's great in RE4, and I thought she was really boring in RE2 make, but yeah.
She's there to be the simp object for Leon.
basically, yes.
She
Which
is
is also
she
shitty,
is Cat.
but-
She is
Yeah,
Leon's
she's-
Catwoman to his Batman. or
Absolutely.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was originally helping Ethan. The only thing I would have liked is that she was wearing like the sweet Plague Doctor mask that I wanted to see in the game.
Yeah, I love the Plague Doctor mask. That would have been cool if she had that. But yeah.
But yeah, like even in RE6, like when you beat the 3 other characters' campaigns, which I know nobody did here probably because you guys don't like that game, I understand. You unlock a secret campaign that's Ada, and you find out like Ada was doing shit for everybody the entire time. She was like the magical behind the curtain person. It's really weird how much they love Ada. I'm glad she didn't make it in here.
The fans love Ada.
That's fair.
It's a fan service thing.
Yep.
And then on Donna.
So would you say she's number Wong in your heart?
Boo.
Would you say that Ada was wrong for this game?
Damn it.
Yes, I would say that's a better show. Good job.
That one. Cut mine, keep that.
All right, one last note I have here. Donna originally was a doctor, and there was no Angie, no dolls. There was no doll maker stuff. I think it makes more sense with what actually happens there in the bottom floor, like with the fetus and with there being an operating room and all this stuff. Like, it feels like that stuff is left over from when they had her as a doctor. And I'm not sure why they didn't just make her like a doctor who also makes dolls, because she feels like it. I feel like that would have made more sense for her character. But also, we just don't learn much about her.
She can't be multifaceted, apparently.
Apparently not.
Can't have a hobby that she took way
one
too
for
seriously.
Yeah, and because she was originally a doctor, that Mia doll was originally a cadaver of Mia, which would have been way creepier to dig into and pull things out of.
Yeah,
It's so fucking
that would be
cool. That would be metal as
pretty
fuck.
cool. Pretty gory.
All right, that's all the super nerdy notes I have on here.
Well, that's awesome.
Let's talk about scores. I know not everybody here loves giving scores to games. I give scores to every game I play, though. How do you guys feel? Scores. Tyler, you first.
Oh, me.
Go.
This one's tough to score because, like, personally, it's one of my favorite games I played this year. It's probably my game of the year. I'd say it's 9.25 to a 9.5, somewhere in that area. I can't give it an exact number though, but in that area.
Okay.
This is another. Oh, I don't want to skip Rob. I just want to say quickly. This is another area that Tyler and I agree on.
Interesting. Well, go ahead, Dory.
Okay, shit.
You're good. Go for
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I really agree with Tyler. It's hard if we're doing like a 10 and we can have decibels and all that fancy shit. Like I'm definitely like a 9.25 like Tyler said, but I don't know exactly where I would land. I do have some small gripes here and there, and I think they culminate enough to definitely not make it a 10. It's not a 10 for me, but I don't think it's a 9.5 either. So it's very strong though. I mean, incredibly strong. And again, if Disco and Elysium and Mass Effect Legendary Edition hadn't come out, this would also be my GOTY. So
That's funny. You guys all say that. It to me is similarly. It is just above a 9, but it's not quite like a 9.5. It's not that close to masterpiece. I don't think. I think it is one of the best Resident Evil games. Like we said, like it's my second favorite Resident Evil game now. Based on what it was doing, I think it plays really well. I enjoy the mercenary stuff, but not for like the sake of getting high scores necessarily. I just enjoy engaging with the mechanics and combat, and that's like a safe environment to just like play the game and have that as an arcade mode. Because I also love stuff like House of the Dead, Virtua Cop, all that stuff. So it fulfills that kind of thing. It knows what it is, and it's confident, and I really appreciate that about it. It's got shit that doesn't make sense, but like kind of in keeping with Resident Evil. Like I didn't come to this expecting Silent Hill. I wasn't afraid to go to bed or anything late alone at night. Like I didn't have any of those horror experiences in the same way. I was just like, I was there for the ride and had a blast. Enjoyed every minute of it.
I will say one. I will say one last thing is that I did not expect to enjoy this game as much as I did.
Same.
I expected to have a good time. I expected it to be on my top 10. I did not expect it to be so damn high, nor did I expect it to pretty much be. I mean, it's when I say I like Resident Evil 4 more, I mean it's barely. It's not by a lot.
Well, it's because you have a history tied to that game too.
Sure. But I mean, I just think I like the villains, I like the characters, I like the story a little more in RE4 than RE8. But I mean, pretty much everything else, RE8, like, you know, is better than, you know, graphics, gameplay, voice acting, etc., writing. But like, you know, just the characters and the story of RE4 are so special to me. It's hard for me to override that. And I mean, I can always just get used to the RE4 aiming, even if it's a little iffy by today's standards.
Yeah, that's it. Like RE8 feels a little bit like it's living in the shadow of RE4. And so that, like, it's not that it isn't an original game, but it feels like heavily inspired by its predecessors and uses them in a great way. But whereas Resident Evil 4 was like an original reinvigoration of what it meant to be Resident Evil.
It's funny that y'all say that because I have never finished Resident Evil 4, and to me, it just does not live in that shadow at all. It's its own thing, doing its own thing, and I do not have that comparison to that game. So
Yeah, I mean, I
that
played
might be why it's a
RE4.
little bit higher for me.
Maybe, yeah. I played RE4 very late, so I don't have like a nostalgic attachment to it, and I definitely like this game more than RE4.
Oh, I do too. To be clear, I think this game is better than Resident Evil 4. I just in terms of like in context of Dory's appreciation for what this does in relation to RE4, I can totally see like having like this game kind of did it first, but I way more enjoyed my time with this. Over
Yeah, it's
RE4.
also it's hard to overstate what RE4 did for games in general
Exactly.
with over-the-shoulder shooting like that.
Yeah, it completely changed the gaming. For the
I mean,
better.
it changed so much about people needing to yell every 5 seconds. Krauser, Leon, Leon, Sadler, Lewis. I probably just woke somebody up. Shit.
Your right hand comes off.
wait, no.
Yeah, I was also very surprised by how much I love this game. I guess I knew from the demos that I was really going to love it, but up until I played the demos, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel, because RE7 I'm pretty tepid on. I think it's decent, but not, like, it's not in my top half, probably, of Resident Evil games, personally, but this game really blew me away with, just, it feels a lot better than RE7. I think they refined the controls a lot. The enemies are a lot more interesting and varied, like we've talked about here. And the setting and the characters, like everything in this game really works for me. And I think the biggest thing, like this is a 9.5 for me, and I think the biggest thing that makes it stand above compared to you guys is that I adore Mercenaries mode. Like I love it, and I wish there was
Yeah.
more stages. There's only
I
one
just haven't
stage
spent
that I
much time
don't
yet.
adore.
I think if I was hotter on Mercenaries and I wanted to replay it more or speedrun it, like I think it might be a little higher for me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it has a lot of value for sure.
Yeah, like RE2 Remake is the game that really made me a massive fan of the series. Like I'd played a few before, 5 and 6, and I think I actually played 7 after playing RE2 Remake because I was like, oh yeah, these games are great. But RE2 Remake's the one that got me super into it. So even though it's not that old, I kind of have a lot of nostalgia for that game as like my first big love for our Resident Evil. But I still think
It's
this
the
game
one that-
might be better. In my
It's the
opinion.
one that finally got you in and invested in what it was trying to go for because it did the right things.
Mhm.
It felt great to play. So yeah, I totally understand. That's why RE2 Make is like my favorite Resident Evil game because it is the best, perfect version of what RE2 was. Which when I first played it, fucking could not play it because of how it controlled. Felt like shit. Because I can't do the tank control stuff, which is
Yeah.
why I went to Silent Hill because in Silent Hill 2 I could do the choice to change the control scheme so it wasn't tank controls, and so I went down that path. Love the psychological horror aspect, all that. But with 2, it like there's really cool stuff going on there, and they did a really good job with the remake of showcasing it. And so I agree with you on that. I think this is, yeah, like I said, way more even across the entire game compared to 7, whereas I loved the first half of 7 and then just didn't care for the second half or last third, whereas this was across the board just solid and fun.
Yeah, the one thing that like kind of stands in the way of the game being really great for replays are like the Moreau and the Beneviento sections are kind of rote on replays, but you can get them down to like 10-15 minutes honestly, so it's not that bad.
You can just cruise through them if you want. Yeah.
All right, anyone have any last words on this game?
Pick up the game, play it. It's really good.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be played. I mean, I think it's a must play.
It's gonna fuck up and terrify a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yep. Ryan,
The
we're
next
talking
time
to
you walk up a hill and see a perfectly normal house, just
Run.
keep on, run. Just walk in the other direction. Don't trust that shit.
Yeah, we should say I'm playing through the entire Resident Evil series right now. I'm about to get to RE4 pretty shortly.
Hell yeah.
Which will be an experience because I've only played through that game once, and I was doing it like side by side while watching the super replay from Game Informer, so I kind of had a guide along the way, and this time I will be very confused and lost, and I will upgrade all the wrong things and buy the wrong things, and it'll be terrible.
Yeah, I first
I will
played
be
it
disappointed in you.
back on the GameCube, and I didn't have that stuff really. I just played through it clean.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
Yeah, but by the time we get to RE8, it will probably be around October or later, and
That'd be cool.
Ryan has said that he might play it for us.
I was talking to him about it too, and I told him worst case, like I'll even share my Steam library so he can play it.
I know he's also talking about I know everyone's talking about Hot Boy Summer, but how about Hot Space Summer? Because he's thinking about playing Dead Space 2, and I'm buying front row seats. I'm getting the popcorn. I'm getting the candy. Like, I'm there day one for that.
Really, we just need to watch
Great
Ryan
game.
play any horror game.
Any horror game.
That's
And
what
I
our whole
told him,
Twitch
just
channel should be, if he was
He needs to
willing.
just do it.
He's not willing.
He's not willing,
Honestly,
no.
honestly, it was he had the most people I think watching and interacting with his content when he did the Dead Space. Like, that was
People are here for that shit.
It was
They
a great
love
stream.
it.
Like, when he was doing those streams, they were great. They were so
and
fun.
I haven't played Dead Space 2, so that would be a new experience.
so good.
I played
amazing.
like a couple hours, and then I got bored, and I got bored because I had just beaten Dead Space 1, and I was like, this feels so incredibly samey, like, and I never picked it up again. But yeah, I would love to experience it through this, because I don't think I'm willing to play it, but I think I'd love to watch it. And what I saw was interesting. The gameplay loop for me had been kind of worn out its welcome, and I was like, let's just jump immediately into Dead Space 2, and I'm like, that wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, I told him once if he gets past 2 and gets to 3, I will play through 3 with him, because it has co-op, and I told him I'd cruise through with him and be the action hero to his terrified hiding in a corner.
Yeah, I've still never played through Dead Space 3 co-op.
I hadn't either.
Specifically,
I
I
do
want to
too.
play as the other character that like gets the psycho delusions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's it for this episode. But what do you have to plug, Dory?
Yeah, so I'm on a podcast called PS Premiere, and we do everything Sony. We are going to, I don't know if you all know, but it's E3 season, and lots of shit is happening this month. So we're going to do our best to cover everything PlayStation related in that month. We've got a special podcast episode lined up for this week. We've got some special features coming up in the coming weeks.
Awesome.
We're thinking about maybe doing some special events because it's a certain month. Yeah, we're hoping June will be a big month for us. So that's what we're planning on. But yeah, PS Premiere, we record every Friday, and then the podcast usually gets released on Sunday. It's me, James, Seb, Mitch, sometimes other folks. We've had Rob on, and I don't think we've gotten Chris or Tyler yet, but we'd love to have both of you. I know, Chris, we're gonna hopefully have you all on for some E3 stuff. So
Hopefully. All right, what do you got, Rob?
As was mentioned earlier, I am a member of Draft Punks. We actually recently had Dory on for the Muppets episode. That was a bunch of fun.
Waka.
We had a great time. It might have shown up on someone's list. We did a really great bit at the intro with the Muppet Show song. Completely killed it flawlessly.
Yeah, first try.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Brian got something cool set up with Cameo for our vote. Because what we do is we draft pop culture things from all sorts, and we did a Muppet draft. But for our lists, he had a really cool special thing for determine the vote. So y'all, if you're in the Discord, come check that out. And I will be. You can listen to the Draft Punks on all our socials. Like, we've got @RealDraftPunks on Twitter and Twitch. You can find our podcast pretty much wherever you can find Spelunkers or PS Premiere. It's hosted through Anchor. And this coming weekend, this Saturday, I will be a guest on Great Game Debate. So love those guys over there.
Awesome.
And they wanted to have me on. We can chit chat and be silly. I'm looking forward to seeing what Wes does for the icebreaker. So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, thank you again to Wes for writing in for this the Spelunk.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler, what do you got to plug?
Man, well, we all do the same thing together, so you know.
Okay, you want to plug
takes
Wasted though?
brews.
It takes
So
brews.
God damn it! It takes brews.
Yeah, so Tom and I are going to start It Takes Brews on Saturday. It's our new Wasted series since we finished Wasteland 3 finally. We thought, well, we could try to do the Wasteland 3 Steel Town DLC, or we could just say fuck it and wash our hands of it because we've done 20 episodes of Wasteland 3 and we
You can always
technically
revisit it.
beat it twice.
Yeah.
So we're going to finally start It Takes Brews on Saturday. We're going to drink beers. We're going to play It Takes Two. It's going to be a fun time. And then we are planning our next Wasted series after that because we don't think this one's going to be that many episodes.
Yeah, I feel like you guys will cruise through that pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at platformers.
It depends on how long every stream goes, but it's about a 10 to 12 hour game. So
yeah, we stream usually about 2.5, 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
Yeah, we're thinking a few episodes, and then we have another game lined up if the timing works out. So we'll see.
Sweet.
Yeah, that is the only other game that is competing for my goatee right now. Is It Takes Two. That game is amazing.
It's really high up on my list too.
Can I plug one more thing?
No.
Absolutely
I'm gonna
not.
play one
On
more
your
thing.
own podcast? Fuck no.
You'll know that we have
I love that
another
Rob and I
podcast
said no at the same time.
within this called Gotta Rank 'Em All, and it's the unsung hero of the Spelunkers podcast network. It's the best fucking thing that we do.
It's
around
pretty
here.
great.
I mean, I love having y'all on, but the fucking Gotta Rank 'Em All is so good. It's so genuine.
Brian was actually just on that.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Everything about it is so fun. It's genuine. It's lighthearted. It's just a fun romp with Pokemon history and being able to poke fun at this thing
And
that has been
drag shitty Pokemon.
yeah,
Yes.
it's just embarrass the fuck out of these stupid things that have been in our lives for 20
great.
plus years at this point. It's just a great
I
time.
love the constant callbacks to Trubbish. Just
Yeah.
like he's literally trash. Come on.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on the day it releases, Brian's episode will be out tomorrow. Fellow
Oh, yeah.
Draft Punk.
Perfect timing.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you again, Rob and Dory, for being on for this very long episode, though not quite as long as our Death Stranding episode that you should also listen to. I'm about halfway through it myself. It's
Oh,
a
how
very
did you
interesting
all? Do you know how they responded to my excellent question that I asked?
chat.
I haven't
I'm
had a
not
chance to listen to it yet.
No, I
Yeah,
haven't. I haven't
got the
either.
whole
And
thing.
I
it's
haven't
a,
played that game, so I haven't listened to it.
yeah.
I'm about where they're at, so I can listen to the first one without having too much of an issue for spoilers. But I want to go back and revisit that game. I'm just holding out for a PS5 patch.
Gotcha.
Uh,
That's a very poignant question. So.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Did you ask what's his deal?
No, but well, actually, I did do that, but then I asked a more serious question after. But yeah,
What? That's not a serious question. What someone's
well,
doing?
What is his deal, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? James, what's your deal, man? We've been on
Name's
podcast for
Sam
like a
Porter
year together.
Bridges. The fucking deal is that?
What's his
Yeah,
deal?
right.
There's a lot of making fun of the bad names in that game on that
Uh,
podcast. You guys should all take a listen when you can.
I plan on
Absolutely.
it. I definitely plan on it. It's just been
Is
busy
it funnier?
season.
Is it funnier than our Resident Evil one?
No, absolutely not.
I'm not
You can't match
Chris,
weel.
Chris, to give you context about how bad I am at following up with certain podcasts, I still haven't fucking finished the Plague Tale thing, and I keep getting behind on my. I'll finally catch up on my D&D podcast that I listen to, and then 4 more will drop or some shit. I'll be like, God damn it! So someday I'll finish the Plague Tale podcast.
Someday. Well, we appreciate you giving us a listens regardless. We appreciate everybody who's listening, and we will, I guess we will not, but the Spelunkers will see you guys in a week for Death Stranding. Real quick, we should say that our next game we're doing after Death Stranding is... I don't know if this is picking up at all on the mic. Probably not. Okami. We're going to be playing through Okami. Talking about it in depth. We have a guest lined up, we think, but we're not going to say it in case it falls through. We're also not sure of stopping points, but stay on our YouTube channel, and we'll probably talk about them next week on the Death Stranding episode.
Awesome.
Yep.
I picked that up and been meaning to finish. I have like a quarter of the way through it on my Switch. But
I have never played
So
Okami.
I'll be playing it alongside
now
y'all.
is an excellent time
Exactly.
to start playing
Yeah.
Okami.
I keep thinking I should play it, and I foolishly watched a playthrough of it by this really popular Let's Player Chugga Conroy, and so I don't really remember everything that happens, but
Did you
I
say
kind of
Conroy?
Chugga.
Oh, I thought you said Chaka, like Chaka
No.
Khan. I was like, that's a fucking great name.
Yeah, Chugga's like a train, so it's even greater. But anyway, yeah.
Okay, Tyler, you want to end the episode? Because every time I try to, I get distracted and say something else.
It's over. It's done. Go home. Why are you still here?
Why are you still here? Go the fuck
hey,
home.
Thanks for stopping by, everybody. This was fun. We'll be back next week with something else.
Bye.